Chapter 337. Inside the house. Ling Yao's brows were tightly furrowed as she looked at the entire house with disdain. This house is too shabby. It cannot compare to my Ling family. Look, there are ants on the ground. It's disgusting. Ling Yao lifted her foot and crushed the ants. Then she took off her shoes and took out a handkerchief to wipe the soles of her feet, as though the ants she had crushed were disgusting things. Yao, I observed for a long time when I was looking for an inn. This is the best house in the vicinity. Just make do with it. How can the things of the mortal world compare to spirit realm? Xiao Jing shook his head helplessly. Ling Yao was the little princess of the Ling family. She had been pampered since she was young and had never suffered any grievances. She wore silk and satin and ate delicacies. With her delicate personality, she should not have come to this kind of place with him. Ling Yao opened her mouth to say something, but at this time, a wave of uniformed footsteps came from outside. Then a group of people flooded in and surrounded the entire yard. Who are you? Xiao Jing frowned and looked coldly at the crowd that had flooded into the yard. He asked gravely. Immediately, the crowd surrounding the yard spread to the sides and revealed a path in the middle. Then, a beautiful girl dressed in a long white dress slowly walked out from the crowd. The young girl was extremely beautiful. Her hair was like a waterfall, her skin was as white as jade, and the smile on her lips was demonic and lazy. Her pitch-black eyes were as bright as the stars in the night sky, and her delicate brows contained an insolent and domineering aura. Even Xiao Jing, who had seen countless beauties, couldn't help but be stunned. But his shock only lasted for a moment as he looked seriously at the girl. This woman was very dangerous. Like a fox hiding in the darkness. She looked calm on the surface, but in reality, she would jump out and stab you when you were not paying attention. Even the experts of Spirit Realm did not give him such a feeling of danger. Who allowed you to enter my territory? Also, what are you doing here? Before Yin Luofeng could answer Xiao Jing, Ling Yao immediately jumped out and glared angrily at Yin Luofeng and the others. Facing the furious Ling Yao, Yin Luofeng's thin lips parted slightly. We're here to beat you up. Ling Yao didn't think that Yin Luofeng would beat someone up without saying a word. Her pretty face immediately changed. She was just about to pull out the long sword at her waist when a hand reached out to stop her. Miss, Xiao Jing frowned. I don't know how I have offended you, causing you to want to attack me. You didn't offend me, but you offended my man. Yin Luofeng did not say this last sentence. She crossed her arms in front of her chest, her posture lazy, and her pitch-black eyes filled with laughter. But under her smile, there was a hidden danger. Xiao Jing's heart sank. Since I didn't offend you, you should at least give me a reason if you want to attack me. Yin Luofeng glanced at Xiao Jing. Her voice was as lazy as ever, but it easily provoked the anger of others. Apologies, I don't need a reason to hit people. She paused, her laughter growing. If I need a reason, then it is, I don't like you. Ling Yao almost went mad with anger. She had never seen a woman who treated rudeness so naturally. She immediately glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng. Damn girl, you want to teach me a lesson with trash like you? You. Chapter 338. Slap. A fierce slap landed on Ling Yao's face, causing her to be dumbfounded. She stopped speaking before she could finish her sentence. She stared in astonishment at the beautiful girl who had appeared in front of her. Her eyes were filled with shock, because in that moment, she did not even see Yin Luofeng's movements. His figure had suddenly disappeared. Like a light breeze, he quickly appeared in front of her. How fast did he have to be to reach such a level? Yao. Xiao Jing's heart tightened, and he hurriedly walked to Ling Yao's side. He frowned and asked with concern, How are you? Are you all right? Xiao Jing's voice finally brought Ling Yao back to her senses. She realized that she had actually been beaten by someone, and her entire body emitted a blazing fury. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws as she charged at Yin Luofeng, her expression a crazed one. Bitch, how dare you hit me? I'm going to kill you. No one has ever dared to hit me since I was young. If I don't kill you, my name isn't Ling Yao. Her eyes were red like a man-eating beast. Her sharp claws pointed towards Yin Luofeng's face, her eyes filled with madness. However, she had just rushed in front of Yin Luofeng when Yin Luofeng's hand grabbed her arm and ruthlessly threw her to the ground. With a bang, Ling Yao's head hit the ground with a dull thud. When had Ling Yao ever suffered such injustice? She was in so much pain that tears flowed from her eyes. Before she could stand up, Yin Luofeng's foot had already stepped on her chest. Ling Yao screamed in pain with this kick. Her red eyes were filled with murderous intent. "Bitch, if you dare to attack me, the Ling family will not forgive you." Yin Luofeng gently raised his eyebrows and exerted force with his right foot. Ling Yao immediately screamed in pain. She was in so much pain that she broke out in cold sweat. She could not even speak. "Stop." Xiao Jing finally walked out of his shock. With a calm expression, he said, "Miss, leave a way out. Don't go overboard. Spirit realm is not to be trifled with." Originally, Xiao Jing had thought that Yin Luofeng would be afraid when he mentioned spirit realm. Unfortunately, things didn't go as he wished. After hearing these two words, the girl didn't have any reaction, as if she didn't hear what he said. Xiao Jing's eyes darkened. "All of you attack." He waved his hand and coldly ordered. "Yes, young master." Hearing this, the members of the Xiao family behind Xiao Jing quickly rushed towards Yin Luofeng. Just as they were about to reach Yin Luofeng, the members of the army suddenly stepped forward, blocking in front of Yin Luofeng like gods of war. Boom! A powerful aura covered the sky and earth, engulfing the entire courtyard. After sensing the aura of these people, Xiao Jing's expression changed drastically, and his gaze became even more solemn. High spiritualist? There were 10 high spiritualists here? Since when did high spiritualists in Long Yuan country become so common? How can there be so many of them? Although the Xiao family had more high spiritualists, and they even had more than 10 celestial spiritualists, 10 high spiritualists was still a significant presence in Long Yuan country. After all, based on his understanding of Long Yuan country, there were only 2 high spiritualists in this country. As for him, his talent was not bad among the Xiao family's disciples. He had even reached the intermediate high spiritualist rank a few months ago. However, there were too many people in front of him. If he wanted to deal with them, it would be difficult for him. Xiao Jing's eyes flickered a few times, and he said in a low voice, "Miss, there are many celestial spiritualists in our Xiao family. The Ling family is not bad either. If you insist on doing this, you will definitely bring trouble to yourself." Chapter 339. Facing Xiao Jing's threat, Yin Luofeng responded with her actions. Slap! Her hand slapped Ling Yao's face again. In an instant, both sides of Ling Yao's face swelled up like a pig's head. She was in so much pain that she couldn't say a word. Her red eyes were filled with angry tears as she stared at Yin Luofeng. If looks could kill, Yin Luofeng would have been hacked into pieces by her. Even with Xiao Jing's calm temperament, he was enraged by Yin Luofeng. His face was terrifyingly cold. "Since you insist on acting rashly, don't blame me for being impolite." Xiao Jing clenched his fists and charged towards Yin Luofeng. A murderous glint flashed in his eyes. Boom! Suddenly, the young girl in front of him raised her eyes and glanced at him with a demonic light in her eyes. In that instant, a powerful force surged into his mind, causing his mind to instantly go blank bang. Yin Luofeng lifted his leg and kicked Xiao Jing's chest. Xiao Jing's body flew out and hit the wall. His body seemed to have suffered heavy injuries. He kept spitting out blood, and he couldn't stop it no matter how hard he tried. "Beat him up." Yin Luofeng glanced at Xiao Jing, who was lying on the ground, and smirked. "Just don't kill him. These 2 people can't die so quickly." "Yes, master." Hearing this, everyone in the army rubbed their palms and smiled evilly as they walked towards Xiao Jing, who was lying on the ground. Don't come over." Xiao Jing's face was full of fear, and his whole body was trembling. If it had been at the beginning, he would have been fearless against the army. After all, the strongest among them was only a low-level high spiritualist. However, Yin Luofeng's kick had caused him to suffer 10,000 points of damage. He couldn't even get up, let alone fight these people. The Xiao family saw that the situation was bad and wanted to save Xiao Jing. However, before they could reach Xiao Jing, they were stopped by the army. What followed was a one-sided trampling. Xiao Jing was too confident. He thought that there were no strong people in Long Yuan country, so he didn't bring any strong guards. The strongest people he brought were only low-level high spiritualists. This caused the Xiao family guards to be unable to fight back. Pucci. In the army, a person punched Xiao Jing in the face, causing his teeth to fall out. His right cheek swelled up like a steam bun, and blood continued to flow from his mouth. Yin Luofeng no longer looked at the situation on Xiao Jing's side. Instead, he turned his gaze to the girl in front of him. He raised his eyebrows slightly and smiled devilishly. You can choose a masochistic method. Ling Yao's face was full of fear, and she shook her head firmly. No, I'm from the Ling family, I bang. The young girl's fist abruptly landed on Ling Yao's body, stopping her from saying anything. Ling Yao spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood at the corner of her mouth stained her clothes red. She glared angrily at Yin Luofeng. At this moment, her body was trembling uncontrollably. The rage in her heart had almost swallowed her whole. This slut, she would never let her off. Pucci. Yin Luofeng's fist landed once again. At that moment, Ling Yao's body shook violently. She gently closed her eyes, and her pretty face turned pale. With every punch, Yin Luofeng's anger subsided a little. Every time she thought of the torture that Yin Xiao had suffered all these years, her heart would fill with hatred. Chapter 340. The Xiao Family. Sooner or later, I will destroy the Xiao family and avenge Yin Xiao. But now is not the time. Yin Luofeng took a deep breath and suppressed the raging flames in her heart. Then, she turned to look at Ling Yao, who had been beaten to the point where she no longer looked like a human. Xiao Jing wasn't much better off. His clothes had been torn to shreds. His skin was bruised, and there wasn't a single part of him that wasn't injured. His body trembled uncontrollably, but he didn't even have the strength to resist. In order to avoid being beaten up again, he hid the hatred in his heart. His deep eyes were like a deep spring, unable to see the bottom. Take it. Yin Luofeng took out a black pill from somewhere and ordered coldly. Ling Yao's eyes showed a sense of terror. She shook her head firmly and sobbed. Yin Luofeng laughed evilly. Her fingers grabbed Yin Yao's chin and forced her mouth open. Then, she forced the pill in. Qing Yin, make everyone in the Xiao family take this pill. Yin Luofeng took out another pill, and her lips curled into an evil smile. After you take this pill, your lives will be in my hand from now on. If anyone dares to breathe a word about what happened today, I will make you suffer the pain of being bitten by 10,000 bugs. Before she had come, Yin Luofeng had told Yin Xiao that she knew what she was doing. Based on her current level of power, it would be difficult for her to go up against a powerful force like the Xiao family. That was why she had prepared these pills. Her goal was to control these people. After all, she wasn't the kind of person who would place herself in danger just to vent her anger. She cherished her life. Only when there was no danger would she have no qualms. Xiao Jing lowered his eyes. He didn't resist like Ling Yao and swallowed the pill obediently. This was because he understood that he was now a fish on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. If he resisted, what awaited him would be an even harsher punishment. Therefore, he might as well obediently swallow the pill to avoid the torture. When the rest of the Xiao family saw that Xiao Jing had swallowed the pill, they could only reluctantly swallow it. Their expressions were very ugly, and some of them were rolling on the ground in pain. Who the hell are you? Xiao Jing used all his strength to support his body. He crawled up from the ground and looked at Yin Luofeng with a grave expression. The corners of Yin Luofeng's lips curled up as he looked at Xiao Jing with his evil eyes. The number one hedonistic young master of Long Yuan Nation. That's me. Everyone knows that I don't need a reason to beat people up. As long as I don't like them, I'll beat them up. At this moment, Xiao Jing's face was already swollen like a pig's head, so his expression couldn't be seen clearly. However, from his eyes, it could be seen that he didn't believe Yin Luofeng's words. Yin Luofeng stretched his body and said lazily, I hope that you guys can stay in Long Yuan Nation for a few more days. Because I've never beaten someone up as much as I did today. Ling Yao's body trembled violently. This time, she was smarter and bit her lip, not saying a word. Let's go. After saying this, Yin Luofeng walked out of the courtyard. At that moment, everyone in the army also started walking and followed closely behind the young girl. Xiao Jing, are we just going to swallow this? I can't accept this. Ling Yao opened her mouth with much difficulty, but as she spoke, she accidentally pulled the wound on her face. It was so painful that she drew in a breath of cold air. Chapter 341. Xiao Jing wasn't any better. His originally handsome face was now swollen like a pig's head. His clothes were ragged, and there wasn't a single part of his body that was unharmed. His eyes became darker and darker, so much so that Ling Yao's heart suddenly trembled. Xiao Jing. Ling Yao swallowed her saliva and opened her mouth to say something, but she was interrupted by the man's cold gaze. If you don't swallow this, what else do you want to do? Don't forget the pills we just swallowed. If we don't endure it, who knows what will happen? Xiao Jing was a little annoyed. He still didn't know how he had offended that crazy woman to the point that she would act so ruthlessly against him. After saying this, he was silent for a while and said with a frown, "Let's go back to the Xiao clan first." Ling Yao was still very unwilling. Her eyes were spitting fire. "We came here to find that trash. If we go back now, what will happen to that trash? When your grandfather told you to come with me, he told you to listen to me. If you don't want to go back, that's fine. I'll go by myself, and you can stay here alone. Don't forget what that crazy woman just said. She wants us to stay here for a few more days so that she can beat us up for a few more days." Xiao Jing gnashed his teeth in hatred, but there was nothing he could do. Who told him to be no match for her? The most important thing right now was to hurry back to the Xiao family, in case that crazy woman came looking for him again. Ling Yao stomped her foot fiercely. No matter how unwilling she was in her heart, she still followed Xiao Jing and quickly left the house. In the general's residence, when Yin Luofeng heard that Xiao Jing and Xiao Luofeng had left overnight, an evil smile appeared on his face. His pitch-black eyes were filled with schemes. "Your Xiao family hurt Yin Xiao, and you want to leave just like that? If I don't find something for you to do, I'm afraid you will continue to target the Xiao family. Miss, what wicked idea do you have now?" Qin Yin blinked her eyes and asked curiously. Yin Luofeng did not answer her question. He only curled the corners of his lips and said, "Qin Yin, I'm going out for a while. Help me prepare a set of clothes and a bamboo hat." Qin Yin was very curious in her heart, but she didn't ask much. She knew that no matter what Miss did, it would be the right thing to do. The night was like water, quiet and seductive. Xiao Jing and Ling Yao led a group of people from the Xiao family and walked quickly in the dark. It was as if this was a land of wolves and tigers, and they wanted to leave as soon as possible. Unfortunately, because everyone was heavily injured, their journey was very slow. They had to stop and walk. Thus, after a few hours, they were still walking in the ancient forest outside the imperial city. "Ling Yao, hold on. When we leave this place, we'll find a medical center to recuperate." Xiao Jing looked at the panting Ling Yao and said with a frown, "If old man Ling hadn't asked him to take care of Ling Yao, he might have left this burden behind. But I really can't walk anymore." Ling Yao leaned against a tree and lay down. Her expression was very ugly. The wounds on her body had not faded yet. Her body was covered in bruises, and the blood on her clothes had already dried up, appearing to be a patch of brown. "Ling Yao." Xiao Jing's frown deepened. "If you don't want to meet that crazy woman again, you'd better stand up quickly. Who knows where that lunatic will jump out from?" It was obvious that Xiao Jing's heart was filled with fear towards Yin Luofeng. Chapter 342. All right. Ling Yao gritted her teeth and stood up from the ground. Now, every time she thought of Yin Luofeng, she would go mad with hatred. She wanted nothing more than to rush over and tear that woman into a million pieces. However, she also understood that based on her own power, she would not be able to take revenge. Furthermore, ever since she had taken that pill, she could no longer use her family's power. "Let's go." Xiao Jing turned away and slowly walked towards the forest in front of him. However, Ling Yao appeared to be absent-minded. She bit her lips and looked slightly pale. Her eyes were fixed on the tip of her feet, and her gaze was unfocused. Thud! Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of her, and she was caught off guard. She crashed into it violently. At the same time, a powerful aura exploded from the other party's body and sent her flying. Tui, Ling Yao's body was already unable to bear the burden. Now that she had been hit by the other party, she spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, unable to get up. Ling Yao. Xiao Jing's expression changed greatly. He quickly rushed to Ling Yao's side and helped her up. His cold, gloomy eyes swept towards the uninvited guest who had appeared in the forest. A gentle breeze blew past, lifting the corners of her white robes. Her head was covered with a white bamboo hat, causing Xiao Jing to be unable to see whether the person in the white robes was a man or a woman. "Who are you?" Xiao Jing's eyes darkened as he asked coldly. Under the bamboo hat, the young girl's peerlessly beautiful face was curled into a small angle. Her pitch-black eyes were clear and bright. She had purposely lowered her voice, making her voice sound low and hoarse. It even carried a hint of mischievousness. She didn't look where she was walking and bumped into me, so I was only teaching her a lesson. Perhaps it was because she had purposely changed her voice, but her tone sounded exceptionally neutral. This allowed Xiao Jing to determine her gender. Ling Yao was indeed in the wrong. She shouldn't have looked where she was walking, but are you not at fault? You're so elusive that even we didn't notice when you had appeared. You're still blaming Ling Yao for bumping into you? The young girl's bamboo hat was slightly lifted in the gentle breeze, revealing only her thin lips. The smile on her thin lips carried a hint of mischievousness. Xiao Jing tried his best to open his eyes wide, but he still couldn't see the face under the bamboo hat. If I say that she bumped into me, then she bumped into me. The young girl's voice rang out again. I will punish anyone who bumps into me. Do you choose to gouge out your eyes or be ravaged by me? Yun Luofeng's last sentence was clearly directed at Ling Yao. She was like a hedonistic son of a rich family, and her words carried a roguish tone. Although you don't look good, your figure is not bad. I, your big brother, am interested in playing with you. TSK, I want to know what it feels like to strip you naked and whip your body. That's right. Little Imo, who was in the grimoire, could not help but roll his eyes when he heard his master's words. She didn't expect the owner to be so good at pretending to be a man. Even this kind of ruffian was vividly displayed, especially when she was teasing Ling Yao. If someone who didn't know better heard it, they would really think she was a hooligan. Young master, don't go too far. Xiao Jing's expression darkened. He must have had 8 lifetimes worth of bad luck. First, he had run into a crazy woman. Now, he had run into a ruffian. If he had not been severely injured, he would have sent the man before him to meet the king of hell. Chapter 343. Overboard. Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed with an evil light as she raised her brows at Xiao Jing. The Bai family has never known the meaning of overboard. This woman bumped into me, and now she wants me to let her off? Dream on. In the beginning, Xiao Imo did not know what her master was trying to do. Now, she suddenly understood. A frame-up. This was a complete frame-up. Her master was afraid that the Xiao family would cause trouble for Yun Xiao again, so she had found something for them to do. The young master of the Xiao family and the eldest lady of the Ling family had been humiliated by the Bai family. How could they let the Bai family off so easily? That was why she had pretended to be a man of the Bai family in an attempt to incite a war between the two families. Who asked the Bai family to participate in the war in Flowing Gold Country? They had even helped the empress kill her mother. You're from the Bai family? The Bai family of Flowing Gold Country? Xiao Jing's expression was ugly. He never thought that he would meet a member of the Bai family here. Yin Luofeng did not feel the slightest bit ashamed of her frame-up and replied matter-of-factly. That's right, I'm from the Bai family. Bai Su is in charge of the Bai family. Why would we be afraid of you? Even though Yin Luofeng did not know Bai Su's identity, she could tell from Yun Zhao's words that Bai Su was a special existence in the Bai family. That was why she had pushed the blame onto Bai Su. At this moment, a handsome and devilishly charming face appeared in her mind. His slightly narrowed eyes were filled with a dangerous light. Bai Su, I'll settle the score with you sooner or later. I'll cause some trouble for the Bai family first. As for her, all she needed to do was stand by the side and watch the show. All of you, stop him. Ling Yao, let's go. Xiao Jing ordered the Xiao family members in a low voice. He then grabbed Ling Yao and tried to leave. Trying to leave? Yin Luo Feng smiled icily. She looked at the Xiao family guards who were charging towards them, and a cold light flashed across her pitch-black eyes. Then, a long sword appeared in her hand, splatter. The young girl's body quickly passed through the crowd of Xiao family members. In the instant she passed, the guards who were originally aggressive all spat out a pillar of blood, and their bodies stiffened as they fell to the ground. Seeing that the situation was not good, Xiao Jing wanted to speed up his escape, but at this moment, a figure wearing a white bamboo hat had already landed in front of them. Whoosh! The young girl raised her long sword, and with a flash of sword light, Ling Yao's clothes were all cut into pieces, floating in the air. Ah! Ling Yao screamed and hurriedly covered her body. Her eyes were filled with shame, anger, and fear. Although there are many injuries on this body, it doesn't diminish my interest. Instead, it increases my interest. Yin Luofeng put away his long sword and took out a whip from somewhere. He slowly approached Ling Yao. Ling Yao looked at the approaching figure, and she kept retreating, her body trembling uncontrollably. Don't come any closer. Xiao Jing, save me, Pa! Yin Luofeng lashed out with his whip. In an instant, Ling Yao's flesh split open and blood flowed out. Stop! Xiao Jing wanted to grab Yin Luofeng's whip, but before his hand could land, he was pushed away by a wave of spirit energy. His body fell backwards, and he fell into a pile of corpses. Xiao Jing clutched his chest and spat out blood. He regretted not looking at the almanac before leaving. Who knew that there were so many people in the world who did not care for their lives and dared to attack people of spirit realm? Your identities? Yin Luofeng's gaze landed on Ling Yao, and he asked coldly. Chapter 344. Ling Yao's body shook. Facing this terrifying person, she did not dare to hide anything. She bit her lips and said, I am from the Ling family of spirit realm. He is from the Xiao family. Why did you come here? Yin Luofeng raised an eyebrow slightly. With her previous identity, it was not convenient for her to ask about these things. Now that she was pretending to be from the Bai family, it was time to find out why they came here. Ling Yao was naked and shivered uncontrollably in this slightly cold air. The Xiao family came here to find the trash that was exiled from the family more than a decade ago. Trash? Yin Luofeng's gaze grew colder. She did not need to think to know that the trash Ling Yao spoke of was Yun Xiao. It seemed that the Xiao family did not know that the Ghost Emperor was Yun Xiao. Otherwise, they would not have treated him with such an attitude. You are not from the Xiao family. Yin Luofeng paused. Why did you come here? Hearing this, Ling Yao seemed to forget her fear. Disgust flashed through her eyes. That trash of the Xiao family was betrothed to me, but the one I love is the #1 genius of the Xiao family, Xiao Yuqing. I came here to break off the engagement with that trash. I also want the betrothal token. Betrothal token? What is that? Yun Luofeng's brow furrowed. It is a jade pendant with the word Ling carved on it. Ling Yao did not understand why Yin Luofeng was asking this, but she still answered in a trembling voice. My grandfather gave that jade pendant to his mother. When he left the Xiao family, his mother gave the token to him. My goal is to get that jade pendant back. That trash does not have the right to hold it. Whenever she thought that her family's jade pendant was in the hands of trash, her heart was filled with disgust. Pia. At this moment, the whip hit her body again, and she gasped in pain. I have told you everything you want to know. Why do you still not let me go? She shouted angrily. Her entire body trembled, and her eyes were filled with grievance and anger. Of course, Ling Yao did not know that her words had completely provoked Yin Luofeng. Her Yin Xiao was so outstanding. How could she be humiliated by these people? Seeing their disgust, she could imagine the treatment Yun Xiao had suffered in the Yun family in the past. You pervert! Another whip lashed down. Ling Yao couldn't care less about her shyness. She let go of her hand that was covering her private parts and raised her arm to block the incoming braid. Hiss! The whip landed on her arm, causing a burning pain. Ling Yao was in so much pain that tears flowed out of her eyes. Her teary eyes were filled with resentment. I swear, when I go back, I will tell my grandfather about this and ask him to destroy the Bai clan. Ling Yao used all her strength to shout this last sentence. The rage in her heart caused her expression to be filled with malevolence. Her gaze was like a dagger dipped in poison as she glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng. Ha! Yin Luofeng laughed. Her tone was filled with arrogance. Other people are afraid of spirit realm, but the Bai family is not. If you have the ability, then have the people of spirit realm attack the Bai family. This sentence revealed the truest thoughts in her heart. When two tigers fight, one will definitely be injured. She just needed to watch the show. Just you wait. Ling Yao trembled in anger. I definitely won't let your Bai family off. Chapter 345. Seeing the results she wanted, Yin Luofeng stopped torturing Ling Yao. She slowly put away the whip in her hand and said with a cold smile, "All right, then I will wait for you at the Bai family." With that, she laughed maniacally, turned around, and left in the direction she came from. After she left, Xiao Jing finally dragged his heavily injured body to Ling Yao's side. He took off his clothes and put them on her. Ling Yao, the Bai family is too arrogant. We should teach them a lesson. Ling Yao's gaze was vicious as she stared in the direction that Yin Luofeng had left. She gritted her teeth and said, I will return the humiliation that he gave me today 1,000 times over. So what if the Bai family had Bai Su? She would not easily forgive these people who bullied her. Xiao Jing. Ling Yao climbed up from the ground with difficulty, her eyes dark. I did not want others to know that my clothes were stripped. If this matter reached Xiao Yuqing's ears, based on that man's nature, he would never marry her again. All right. Xiao Jing thought for a moment and nodded slightly. The marriage between the Xiao family and the Ling family was a must. If this matter were spread, the Xiao family's reputation would be damaged. Therefore, he would hide the matter of Ling Yao being stripped naked. Let's go. Looking at the corpses on the ground, Xiao Jing's eyes darkened. He supported Ling Yao, the murderous intent in his eyes growing. Bai family, you dare to provoke the Xiao family. I will not let you have it easy. These few days, the situation on the continent was very unstable. As the three great families of Spirit Realm, the Xiao family and the Ling family attacked the Flowing Gold Nation's Bai family for some reason. Even the Bai family did not know what happened. But Bai Su was not at the Bai family during this time. Therefore, the Bai family could not resist the combined attack of the two families. Yet, the two great families of Spirit Realm seemed to be wary of something and did not kill the Bai family. They only taught the Bai family a small lesson. As the instigator of this incident, he acted as if nothing had happened. Every day, he would either tease Yun Xiao, spend his time cultivating, or face Xiao Mo's incessant chatter. At this moment, in the rear courtyard of the general's residence, a man was quietly staring at the young girl lying on the chaise lounge. A strange light flowed through his black eyes. Were you the one behind the Xiao family and the Bai family? That's right. Yin Luofeng's lips curled up slightly. My mother's death is related to the Bai family, and the Xiao family hurt you. That's why I started this battle. A warm feeling flowed through Yun Zhao's heart. He knew that Yin Luofeng was doing all this to help him take revenge. On that day, he had also seen the Xiao family members leaving the Long Yuan nation in a sorry state. Yin Xiao, I have something to ask you. Yin Luofeng's eyes were solemn as he stared fixedly at the man standing next to her. What is your relationship with the Ling family? Yin Xiao looked at Yin Luofeng suspiciously. What relationship do I have with the Ling family? This question was asked by Yin Luofeng. Now, he was returning it to Yin Luofeng. Because he really did not know what relationship he had with the Ling family, Yin Luofeng's eyes were filled with evil. He leaned lazily on the chaise lounge and asked in a casual tone, I heard that. Ling Yao of the Ling family is your fiancé? Yin Xiao frowned, shook his head and said, I don't know her. I'm also not sure about this matter. Did Ling Yao tell you personally? Chapter 346. Yin Luofeng raised his lips slightly. Not only did she tell me that you were betrothed to her since you were young, she also said that you have a token of love between the two of you. Is that true? Yun Xiao thought about it and shook his head. I'm not sure. The token of love you're talking about is a jade pendant with the word Ling engraved on it. Yun Xiao fell silent, and his brows furrowed, as if he was thinking about something. However, no matter how hard he thought, he could not think of what the jade pendant looked like. I don't have the jade pendant that she's talking about. When he left the Xiao family, he had nothing. So where did he get the jade pendant? Hence, he really did not have the thing that Yin Luofeng was talking about. Yin Luofeng glanced at Yin Xiao. When you left, did your mother give you anything? No. Yin Zhao's reply was very decisive, his black eyes filled with sincerity and seriousness. Believe me, she and I definitely did not have the kind of relationship you're talking about. Yin Luofeng naturally believed Yin Zhao's words, but Ling Yao did not look like she was lying. Hence, there was only one possibility. Yin Zhao's mother did not give him the jade pendant. It's fine. Yin Luofeng crossed his thighs and moved his sore shoulders. His voice rang out lazily. Yin Xiao, come and help me massage my shoulders. Yin Xiao gently pursed his thin lips and silently walked to Yin Luofeng's side. His hand landed on the girl's shoulder. From behind, he could see through the girl's clothes and see her fair, jade-like skin. Yin Zhao's heartbeat suddenly sped up, but his eyes could not move away from the girl's body. He continued to stare at him in a daze. Yin Xiao. Yin Luofeng saw that Yin Xiao did not move and turned to look at the man behind him. When she saw the man's invasive gaze, she slightly narrowed her eyes, and the smile on her lips revealed a dangerous aura. Do you want to see? Yes. Yin Xiao was an honest man. Not only did his body not lie, even his mouth would not lie. He wanted to see her, so he honestly told her what he was thinking. The smile on the girl's face deepened. She stood up from the chaise longue and took a few steps towards the man. Then, I'll strip naked for you to see, okay? Boom. The girl's flirtatious words and seductive actions made the man's blood rush to his head, and an impulse instantly made his body react. Even though the two of them had been sharing the same bed these past few days, Yin Luofeng had never taken off her clothes in front of Yin Xiao. Even on the bed, she would still wear her underwear. It was no wonder that upon hearing her words, Yin Xiao's heart would be filled with a burning desire. Feeling the man's breathing quicken in an instant, Yin Luofeng couldn't help but laugh softly. Yin Xiao, I'm just teasing you. If you want me to strip for you to see, then you'll have to wait until we've dealt with the Xiao family's matter. A murderous intent rose in Yin Luofeng's heart once again as he thought about the humiliation that the Xiao family had inflicted on Yin Xiao. His black eyes carried a thick, cold light. Xiao family. What happened before was only the beginning. In the future, she would make the Xiao family live in eternal regret. A life worse than death. Yin Xiao stared at the young girl's peerlessly beautiful features, and a deep thought flashed across his grim black eyes. His eyes remained as deep as the dark night, making it impossible for anyone to understand what this man was thinking in his heart. The next day, the sky had just brightened. After Yin Luofeng had finished washing up, she pushed open the door to her room. Suddenly, a gray figure was reflected in her eyes. Chapter 347. Mistress, you're awake? Qin Yuan laughed awkwardly. About this, my master told me to wait for you here and leave you a message. For some reason, looking at Qin Yuan's expression, Yin Luofeng had a bad feeling. Where's Yin Xiao? She frowned and asked. Qin Yuan rubbed his hair. Master went to spirit realm. He wants to return to the Xiao family. Return to the Xiao family? Why? Yin Luofeng stilled and asked with a frown. Qin Yuan's expression grew even more awkward. Mistress, Master told me to tell you that he will destroy the Xiao family as soon as possible. Then, Mistress, do not forget to fulfill your promise. What promise? Mistress, you said that after the Xiao family is destroyed, I will strip naked for Master to see. When he said this, Qin Yuan's face flushed red. He could not understand why such a cold and murderous master would say such shameless words. Especially when he went to a place like Spirit Realm to have Mistress stripped naked, it seemed that Mistress was very important in Master's heart. This idiot. Yun Luofeng shook his head helplessly. He really believes whatever I say. He returned to the Xiao family just because of this. After the awkwardness, Qin Yuan seemed to remember, and a hint of anxiety appeared on his face. Mistress, there are some things Master does not want me to say, but I think I should let Mistress know. This time, Master may be in danger when he returns to the Xiao family. Yun Luofeng's heart suddenly sank. What happened? With Yun Zhao's strength, he cannot deal with the Xiao family? Mistress, Qin Yuan shook his head. My master is very powerful, but the patriarch of the Xiao family has something that will be dangerous to Master. Yin Luofeng's expression changed and his eyes darkened. Before I acted against the Xiao family, why did Yin Xiao not tell me about this? Qin Yuan grimaced. Mistress, you are too important in Master's heart. As long as you are happy, even if he puts himself in danger, he will not hesitate. This idiot. Hearing Qin Yuan's words, Yin Luofeng couldn't help but curse Yin Xiao in her mind. In her 2 lives, she had never seen anyone so stupid, but she was often touched by this idiot. Give me a map to Spirit Realm. Yin Luofeng took a deep breath and said, Qin Yuan stilled. Why are you going to Spirit Realm, Mistress? Of course it's to look for that idiot Yin Xiao. She was the one who caused this, so how could she leave that idiot behind? No matter how dangerous it was, she had to go to Spirit Realm. Qin Yuan's expression tensed up. He said embarrassedly, Mistress, this isn't very good, right? If Master knew that I told Mistress about this matter, he would definitely hack me into pieces. Yin Luofeng shot a sinister look at Qin Yuan and said in a strange tone, Do you choose to be hacked into pieces by him? Or do you want to be executed by me? Don't worry, my methods are definitely more painful than Yun Zhao's. If I don't let you bleed to the last drop of your blood, I won't let you die so easily. Qin Yuan's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with terror. He regretted it. He regretted telling Mistress about this matter. If Master knew, he would definitely not let him go easily. But in the end, Qin Yuan still gritted his teeth. Mistress, please wait a moment. I will go prepare the route to Spirit Realm for you now. Chapter 348. In any case, if Master became angry with Mistress by his side, he would definitely be able to escape death. If he did not give the map to Mistress now, he might really die from suffering. When he thought of this, Qin Yuan's heart gradually calmed. He did not hesitate any longer and hurriedly went to find the map for Yun Luofeng. Qin Yuan knew very well that here, Master's words did not count. Mistress's words were the imperial edict. Even Master had to carry them out. Therefore, if he could please Mistress, would he be afraid that Master would punish him in the future? The more Qin Yuan thought, the more pleased he became. His efficiency increased. Soon, he found the map and handed it to Yun Luofeng. Mistress, this is the map to Spirit Realm. I promised Zhu Zi to protect Mistress, so I will travel with Mistress this time. Qin Yuan fawned like a dog. If he had a tail, he would be wagging it happily. No need. Yun Luofeng put away the map. Stay here and protect the Yun family. I will go to Spirit Realm alone. But, Qin Yuan frowned. There are many experts in Spirit Realm. I fear that Mistress cannot handle them. Yin Luofeng glanced coldly at Qin Yuan. You want to disobey my orders? Fine. When Yun Xiao returns, I will say that you are incompetent and have him punish you. Qin Yuan's expression immediately became bitter. He said pitifully, Mistress, if I let you go to Spirit Realm alone, this subordinate will not be at ease. If something happens to you, Master will not forgive me. Do not worry. With me here, he will not punish you. But if you do not listen to my orders, I can make you wish you were dead. The young girl's voice was as calm as water, but caused Qin Yuan's heart to tighten. Mistress, even if you want to punish this subordinate now, this subordinate will still follow you. Qin Yuan grimaced. This subordinate has promised Master to ensure Mistress's safety. Whoosh! Suddenly, a silver needle flew over from the front, and pierced into Qin Yuan's body. In an instant, he was unable to move, as if he had been paralyzed. He could only look at Yin Luofeng anxiously. "Mistress, you can't go to Spirit Realm alone." Yin Luofeng looked at Qin Yuan. "After 2 hours, the silver needles on your body will naturally fall off. At that time, you'll be able to move freely. During this period of time, I can only trouble you." "Mistress." Qin Yuan's expression grew increasingly anxious. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have told the mistress about this. "Qin Yuan, I don't know how long I'll be away from Spirit Realm this time. I'm worried about the Yun family, and I can only be at ease if you're here. Also, Si Qiong still needs you to watch over him. Without you, there's no guarantee that he won't cause a great storm." Qin Yuan wanted to use his spiritual power to force the silver needles out of his body. Unfortunately, his spiritual power seemed to be imprisoned and could not be moved. This time, he had indeed been careless, because he had never expected Yin Luofeng to suddenly attack. "Please." Yin Luofeng looked seriously at the anxious Qin Yuan, who was sweating profusely. "The Yun family, as well as my grandfather and his second uncle, please take care of them. When Yun Xiao and I return, I will plead on your behalf." Qin Yuan's body shook. He knew that no matter what he said, Yin Luofeng would not let him go. A bitter smile appeared on his face. "Mistress, since you have already made up your mind, what else can this subordinate say? If you really want to find Master, then go. I will protect the Yun family for you." Chapter 349. Thank you. Yun Luofeng's black eyes were filled with gratitude as she thanked her sincerely. Qin Yuan's body stiffened. He smiled bitterly and said, "Mistress, my master is your man. No matter what this subordinate does, it is only right. This subordinate really can't accept this word from you." He knew that no matter how Yin Luofeng had threatened him, she would never do such a cruel thing to him. The mistress might be arrogant in the outside world, beating people up as she pleased. However, she treated her own people with sincerity. Otherwise, she wouldn't have thanked him. It was because of such a mistress that he was willing to listen to her orders. "Tell my grandfather that I'll be back in at least half a year, 2 to 3 years at most." Yin Luofeng glanced at Qin Yuan one last time before she turned and left the room. She knew that if she told the old man that she wanted to go to Spirit Realm, he would definitely not allow it. Hence, she could only leave secretly. Spirit Realm. Perhaps it was because the young masters and ladies of the Xiao and Ling families had been bullied outside. The entire Spirit Realm was not peaceful. At this moment, an elder sat upright with a stern expression in the Xiao family's great hall. A man and a woman sat below him. The middle-aged man was dressed in a green robe. His eyes were dark as he glanced at the cold man, standing in the great hall with disgust. Beside him sat a beautiful woman. She had a beautiful smile on her face, but her eyes were like a venomous snake. Anyone who was looked at by her would feel as if they were being stared at by a venomous snake. "Xiao, I've called you back this time because there are 2 things I need you to do." The elder's expression was stern, and his eyes were cold like a knife carved into her heart. "First, it will be the day Xiao Yuqing inherits the position of family head soon. You've been expelled from the Xiao family, and your name has been removed from the ancestral hall. You have no right to participate in this event. However, if Xiao Yuqing wishes to inherit the position of family head, he must open the Xiao family's secret realm. The price of opening the secret realm is the bloodline power of 10 Xiao family disciples." In the main hall, the man remained silent. His handsome face was devoid of expression as his grim, black eyes stared coldly at the old man who was sitting high up in the hall. He was calm and unruffled. "Originally, our Xiao clan had already chosen disciples with extremely deep bloodlines. Unfortunately, one of our disciples had died in an accident while on a mission. Because of this, our Xiao clan had used the power of our bloodline to find you. Now that the Xiao clan's bloodline had withered, there were only 10 people with the bloodline to open the secret realm. The bloodline of the other disciples was too weak and did not have the power to open the secret realm. That was why the Xiao family would think of Yin Xiao, who had already left. Back then, Yin Xiao's bloodline power test had shown that his bloodline was very strong. Originally, the Xiao family had placed high hopes on him But who knew that later on? They slowly discovered that this fellow was just a good-for-nothing. Even Xiao Lin, who was the head of a Xiao family, did not understand why Yun Xiao, who had such a profound bloodline power, would be a piece of trash. Furthermore, no one in the entire Xiao family had inherited a bloodline that was deeper than his. The second thing, old man Xiao paused, then said, "You and Ling Yao should call off the engagement. She and Xiao Yuqing are in love with each other. Even if you insist on marrying Ling Yao, she won't agree. Why make things even more awkward? Based on your talent, you have no right to replace the Xiao family in the marriage alliance with the Ling family." Chapter 350. Xiao Lin had always thought that with such an outstanding young lady like Ling Yao and the identity of the Ling family's little princess, this good-for-nothing would never be willing to break off the engagement with her. But he never thought that Yun Xiao was no longer the good-for-nothing. Even if he was still the good-for-nothing, he still wouldn't like Ling Yao. He only cared about Yun Luofeng. All right, Yun Xiao, who had been silent all this while, slowly opened his mouth after hearing this. His voice was as cold as ever. Hearing the man's words, everyone present heaved a sigh of relief. They were really afraid that Yun Xiao wouldn't let go after finding out about his engagement with Ling Yao. Luckily, this good-for-nothing still knew his place. He knew that he wasn't worthy of the Ling family's little princess. Since that's the case, then hand over the token of your engagement. Xiao Lin similarly heaved a sigh of relief. His tone wasn't as strict as before. Yun Xiao furrowed his brows. "I don't have the token." His words caused everyone's expression to change drastically. The middle-aged man, sitting in the lower seat, immediately stood up and said with a livid face, "You're talking nonsense. Your damned mother must have handed the token to you. Hand it over immediately. Don't think that I don't know that you just don't want to break off the engagement with Ling Yao. But you've forgotten, how could the Ling family's daughter like a good-for-nothing like you?" From his point of view, if Yin Xiao didn't hand over the token, it meant that he wasn't willing to break off the engagement. Hearing the middle-aged man's angry voice, Yun Xiao's gaze turned towards him coldly. This man was his father in name, but in his heart, he wasn't his son. Instead, he was his irreconcilable enemy. And if it wasn't for the sake of retrieving that token, the entire Xiao family would no longer exist. I will break off the engagement. Yun Xiao paused. Furthermore, she and I aren't engaged. The only person he wanted to marry was Yun Luofeng. In his eyes, other women were no different from a pile of bones. If you want to break off the engagement, then hand over the token, the middle-aged man said coldly. His eyes were clearly filled with disgust and ridicule. You haven't even handed over the token. Who knows if you really want to break off the engagement, or if you're just saying it casually. Seeing her husband's furious expression, the beautiful woman hurriedly soothed the anger in his chest. Her gorgeous face was filled with disdain. "Husband, this boy is a good-for-nothing. To be able to be betrothed to the Ling family's little princess is a blessing that he has cultivated for 8 lifetimes. A person like him would definitely not let go of such a good opportunity. Unfortunately, the Ling family's little princess likes my Yuqing. This good-for-nothing has no chance at all. He was just a piece of trash. Did he think that just because the Xiao clan brought him back, it meant that they had acknowledged his identity? If not for his own son, the Xiao family would not have allowed him to take another step. Her son was still more outstanding. Not only was she called the #1 genius of Spirit Realm, she was also the center of attention and the target of all the women in the world, unlike this trash who only received mockery and mockery. As soon as the beautiful woman finished speaking, Yun Zhao's cold eyes swept over her. This gaze made her feel as if she had fallen into hell, and her entire body was ice cold. No, impossible. The beautiful woman bit her lips, and her delicate body trembled. How could this trash have such a terrifying gaze? It was as if he was going to strangle her to death. Even her heart tightened. What happened? The middle-aged man did not know what had happened. He hugged the beautiful woman's trembling body tightly and asked in concern. Chapter 351. Lin Yu shook her head. Her face was slightly pale. This fellow is a good-for-nothing. Why should I be afraid of a good-for-nothing? How could he possibly have the ability to threaten me? Lin Yu's expression gradually returned to normal at the thought of this. She then replied mockingly, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. I want to go back and rest. Xiao Chen's heart ached when he saw Lin Yu's tired eyes. He hugged the beautiful woman's soft body tightly and said, I know you don't want to see this good-for-nothing, but father had called him back for Yu Qing's sake. Bear with it for a while. Once everything is done, we can chase him out of the Xiao family. From Xiao Chen's point of view, the reason why Lin Yu had said that she was feeling unwell was because she had seen this good-for-nothing. Furthermore, this good-for-nothing had shamelessly taken advantage of the Ling family's daughter and refused to let her go. This had made Lin Yu furious. Lin Yu pursed her red lips tightly as her venomous eyes swept across Yun Zhao's body. Then, with Xiao Chen's support, she slowly walked out of the hall. Xiao Lin sat sternly on the high seat and did not stop Xiao Chun and Lin Yu from leaving. His eyes were dignified and domineering as he stared coldly at the cold, expressionless man. You may leave as well. Without my orders, you are not allowed to come into contact with Ling Yao. Hearing this, Yin Xiao immediately turned around and walked out of the great hall. He had not replied to Xiao Lin at all, as if he had not heard him at all. His silent attitude made Xiao Lin's face turn ashen with anger. He slammed his palm on the table and said in a cold and harsh voice, You really are the son of a village woman. You don't know anything at all. You have no upbringing at all. It's a good thing that the Xiao family still has Xiao Yuqing. Otherwise, I must have committed a sin in my past life to end up like this. Without Xiao Yuqing, Yin Xiao would be the only direct descendant of the Xiao family. How would that be any different from ending the family line? It's a good thing that he must have done some great good in his past life for the heavens to bestow upon him such an outstanding grandson like Xiao Yuqing. Xiao Lin's expression did not look as ugly as it had initially when he thought of his own grandson. However, his brows were still tightly knitted and his eyes carried a sense of worry. It's going to be the day of succession for the position of master. I wonder where that child, Yu Qing, has gone to. He hasn't returned for so long. The spirit realm was different from the Long Yuan nation that Yin Luofeng was in. Although it was on the same continent, it had formed its own space. If one wanted to go to the spirit realm, it would be extremely difficult for an outsider to enter that space unless someone led the way. At this time, on the cloud ridge not far from Spirit Realm, moonlight shone through the branches and landed on the girl sitting cross-legged next to a tree with her eyes closed. The girl closed her eyes and sat still. Her sleeves fluttered in the breeze, giving off an indescribable sense of beauty. However, no one knew that even though the girl was meditating and cultivating, her consciousness had already secretly entered the divine grimoire space. The divine grimoire space was different from the outside world. It was daytime all day long, and the bright light shrouded the entire space like holy light. Little Limo, do you have any way for me to enter Spirit Realm? Yun Luofeng lazily leaned against the tea tree. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the pouting little boy squatting in the corner. The little boy's jade-like face was filled with grievance. He glanced at Yin Luofeng with resentment. Master, how long has it been since you came to the divine grimoire space? You asked me about Spirit Realm the moment you came. I've left this continent for so long. How could I know these things? Chapter 352. Yin Luofeng gently rubbed her chin. After a moment of thought, a light flashed through her eyes. It looks like if I want to enter Spirit Realm, I must be led by someone from Spirit Realm. If she had known this would happen, she would have stolen the jade pendant from the Xiao family. At this time, Milk Tea's voice suddenly rang in Yun Luofeng's mind. Her expression froze. Little Imo, I need to leave for a while. Just as she finished speaking, she felt a suction force from the sky and pulled her consciousness out of the divine grimoire space. When she opened her eyes, an old face suddenly appeared in front of her, giving her a fright. The old man in front of him was rather short, and his smiling face looked rather wretched. His white robes did not give off the aura of an immortal, and his head of white hair shone brightly under the night sky. Little girl, we meet again. The little old man greeted Yin Luofeng with a smile. I did not think that we would be so fated to meet here. When she saw the little old man, Yin Luofeng finally recognized his identity. He was the old man who had gotten into a fight with Mu Wuqian at the tea house. He had said that he would come the next day to buy spirit tea. Who would have thought that he would rush over in the middle of the night, take the spirit tea, and leave in a hurry? He seemed to be hiding from someone. "Why are you here?" Yin Luofeng frowned slightly and asked. The little old man chuckled. "This is the path to Spirit Realm. I have come here to go to Spirit Realm. Little girl, are you interested in going to Spirit Realm with me?" Yin Luofeng looked cautiously at the little old man who had invited her. She did not know if it was her imagination, but she felt that the little old man seemed to know that she was going to Spirit Realm. The little old man immediately saw through Yin Luofeng's thoughts and curled his lips. "I have already said that this is the path to Spirit Realm. You must be here to go to Spirit Realm. However, if you want to enter Spirit Realm, you must be led by someone from Spirit Realm or have a passage token. Therefore, you have probably been stopped here. What do you go to Spirit Realm for?" Yin Luofeng curled the corner of her lips and stared straight at the little old man with her pitch-black eyes. A smile appeared on her beautiful face. "Of course, it's to treat illnesses." When it came to what he was good at, the little old man puffed out his chest, his old face filled with pride. "Little girl, if you are interested in medical skills, this old man can teach you. I won't charge you any tuition fees. Isn't this old man very generous?" "Oh." Yin Luofeng touched his nose. Not interested. She was not interested in learning medicine from this old man, because she already had the best medical book in her hands. With the divine canon of medicine here, how could the medical skills of others compare? The little old man's smile froze, and he glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng. "You little girl, do you know how many people want to learn medicine from me? You actually refused. If it weren't for the fact that we hit it off, I wouldn't have bothered to teach you." Yin Luofeng glanced at the old man, who was so angry that he was about to stomp his feet, and casually said, "When I'm interested, I'll learn medical skills from you." Wait until she was in the mood? The little old man rolled his eyes. Wait until he was interested? How long would that take? However, he had finally met such an interesting little girl, and he did not dare to lose his temper and scare her away. Otherwise, where would he find another girl who could interest him so much? Chapter 353. Little girl, if you want to learn medicine one day, you must come find me. I can teach you medicine at any time. The little old man smiled. He looked at the sky and said hesitantly, "It's getting late. If you want to go to Spirit Realm, then come with me." Yin Luofeng's eyes flashed. She didn't think her luck would be so good. Just now, she was worried about how to enter Spirit Realm. She didn't think someone would come to her so quickly. Deep in the cloud ridge, an enormous door stood there. 2 armored guards stood on both sides of the door. They were like statues that did not move in the wind. "Stop!" The 2 guards saw the little old man and Yin Luofeng slowly walk over and immediately blocked in front of them. They said coldly, "Please show your pass." The little old man slowly reached his hand into his clothes. However, after searching for a long time, he didn't take out anything. "Do you have a pass or not?" The 2 guards saw the old man's appearance and instantly became impatient. Their tone was unfriendly. Their expression seemed to say, "If you don't have a pass, then get out of here. Don't interfere with their routine work." "Strange, where's my pass?" The old man's expression was slightly anxious. "I clearly have it on me. Why can't I find it? Did I accidentally lose it on the way?" This time, he had lost a lot of face. Thinking of Yin Luofeng, who was standing beside him, the old man's face reddened, and his expression became slightly embarrassed. "Humph." The guard curled his lips in disdain. "I've seen too many people like you who want to sneak into Spirit Realm. Don't think that I will let you in just because you found an excuse like this. Let me tell you, without a pass, no one can take a step into Spirit Realm. Through this door, one could reach Spirit Realm. Because Spirit Realm had countless rare materials and treasures, there were many people who wanted to sneak into Spirit Realm. Unfortunately, people without a pass could not take a step into Spirit Realm." The little old man frowned, his expression not very good. After all, with his status on the continent, he had never been mocked like this before. "Do you know who I am?" The little old man snorted in annoyance. "I was invited by the people of Spirit Realm to treat my illness." Can you bear the responsibility if I am delayed? Besides, it's not that I don't have a pass. It's just that I can't find it all of a sudden. All these years, where had he not been treated with the utmost respect? This was the first time he was given the cold shoulder. If he wasn't afraid of scaring Yin Luofeng, he would have long made a move against these idiots who had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I don't care who you are. Without a pass, no one is allowed to take one step into spirit realm. The guard lifted his chin arrogantly, his eyes filled with disdain, clearly not taking this little old man seriously. Just as the little old man was about to explode in anger, the sound of horse hooves could be heard from behind him, heading straight towards the gate of the spiritual domain. He frowned as he looked at the group of people who were stepping on the dust, but he quickly turned his gaze away. Among those people, the leader was a handsome young man. His facial features were very exquisite, as if they were carved. His thin lips that were lightly pursed carried a cold curve, and his eyes were so cold that there was no warmth at all. Although Xianxia was also a cold type of man, there was warmth in his coldness, unlike the person in front of him, who had a cold aura all over his body. Young Master Xiao. The two guards saw the young man who was stepping on the dust, and their eyes lit up. They said respectfully, "You've returned?" Chapter 354. Xiao Yuqing nodded. Her cold eyes slowly swept towards the two guards in front of the door. She said coolly, "Open the door." "Yes, young Master Xiao." The guard responded respectfully, turned around, and was about to open the door. However, the little old man was immediately displeased when he saw this scene. He said mockingly, "I remember someone just said that no matter who comes, they need to check the pass. Are you going back on your word now?" The guard's expression turned cold. He snorted coldly. "Old man, do you know who he is? This is the young master of the Xiao family, one of the three great families of Spirit Realm. He definitely doesn't need any pass to come back. How can an old man like you compare to him? If you don't have a pass, get out of here." The Xiao family of the three great families? Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes slightly. A dangerous light flashed through his eyes. This meant that this Xiao family should be the Xiao family that had driven Yun Xiao out of the family. Who would have thought that enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road, to actually meet someone from the Xiao clan here? It seems out like dog, like master. Yin Luofeng looked at the cold man sitting on the horse and said with a cold smile. The little old man looked with slight surprise at Yin Luofeng. For some reason, he had a feeling that this young master of the Xiao family seemed to have a grudge against her. "What do you mean?" The little old man chuckled and asked. No matter what, he had to cooperate with Yin Luofeng at a time like this. Who asked this little girl to please him more? Yin Luofeng swept a glance at him, and his lips curled in an evil smile. "Can't you see? These two guards guarding Spirit Realm are the two dogs raised by the Xiao family. Their master has returned, and the dogs have to open the door for their master." The expressions of the two guards suddenly changed. They glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng. "Stupid girl! How dare you? We know the identity of the Xiao family's young master, and naturally do not need to interrogate you. But you people don't think that I don't know that you want to sneak into Spirit Realm for those precious herbs. If you don't want to die, then hurry up and leave. Don't force me to take action." Yin Luofeng did not seem to hear the words of the two guards. He looked smilingly at Xiao Yuqing. "I heard that the first madam of the Xiao family was only promoted by a concubine, and the son of the Xiao family's patriarch favors his concubine over his wife. This matter has been known for a long time. I am curious, how can such a Xiao family still remain in Spirit Realm?" Xiao Yuqing's mother, Lin Yu, was a famous prostitute in the brothel. She had already had an affair with Xiao Chun and gave birth to Xiao Yuqing. Unfortunately, Xiao Chun still had high hopes for Yun Xiao back then. Hence, he did not marry Lin Yu and was even more afraid that Lin Yu would be bullied. Hence, he took her in as his mistress. Who knew that Yun Xiao's wastrel innate talent would be completely revealed, and after some discussion, the Xiao family chased Yun Xiao out of the family. Even her mother was demoted to a concubine, and Lin Yu took Xiao Yuqing and occupied the Xiao family. It had to be said that although Lin Yu was the top girl in the brothel, her talent was not bad. She was also very powerful. Otherwise, Xiaochen would not have fallen in love with her for so many years. In order to protect her, she took him in as a concubine. But even so, in Yun Luofeng's heart, Lin Yu was just a concubine. Who told Xiaochen to already have a wife at the time? Xiao Yuqing's expression darkened. Her clear eyes gradually looked towards the white-clothed girl in front of her. She said indifferently, "My mother is not a concubine." Chapter 355. Yin Luofeng had already made her preparations to fight Xiao Yuqing. Who would have thought that he would say this in such a carefree manner? Instantly, a disdainful smile appeared on her peerlessly beautiful face. A concubine is a concubine. Not only did she ascend as a concubine, she even wanted to harm the Xiao family's first son to strengthen your position in the Xiao family. But I never thought that such a shameless person could become the mistress of the Xiao family. Isn't the Xiao family afraid of being humiliated? Hearing Yin Luofeng's words, the Xiao family guards were enraged. They pulled out their weapons and were about to teach her a lesson. However, they had only taken a few steps when Xiao Yuqing raised her hand and stopped the guards. "Do you have a grudge against the Xiao family?" Xiao Yuqing's gaze was as cold as moonlight. It poured down on her body, but she could not feel any warmth. "Or are you related to my father's mistress?" "Apologies, I'm just a person who likes to stand up for injustice." Yin Luofeng smiled coldly. Her arrogant eyes contained a stern aura. "I can't bear to see the Xiao family bullying the weak. That's why I couldn't control myself and stood up for injustice." Xiao Yuqing's expression grew even colder. Her clear eyes stared coldly at Yin Luofeng as she slowly said, "You haven't even figured out the truth yet you're standing up for injustice? My mother may have been my father's mistress, but she was the first to meet my father and fall in love with him. Unfortunately, that woman took away my mother's servant girl. My mother is kind by nature and treats her servant girl like a sister. That's why my mother was forced to leave my father just now to save her servant girl's life. Yet you say that this is all my mother's fault? Did you experience this personally?" Yin Luofeng glanced sideways at Xiao Yuqing. Her eyes were filled with mockery. "No." Xiao Yuqing shook her head. "My mother told me. Also, the entire spirit realm knows about this. So if you haven't figured out the truth, don't speak to avoid trouble." Yin Luofeng sneered in her heart. She had not thought that Xiao Yuqing's mother would distort the truth for her own reputation. She pushed all the blame onto Yun Zhao's mother. After all, compared to Xiao Yuqing, she trusted Yin Xiao more. "I think the one who really doesn't understand is you." Yin Luofeng stretched lazily, his slightly narrowed eyes shining with an evil light. "Go back and tell your mother. If you don't want people to know, then don't do it. The thing she has done will be exposed to the light one day. Kindness? If that woman was kind, then there would be no evil people in this world." Not only had she pushed Yun Zhao's mother away, she had even thrown the young Yun Xiao into a place like the forest of no return. Would a person who could do such a thing sacrifice his own happiness for a servant girl? The answer was impossible. Now, every time she thought of the pain Yun Xiao had suffered, she would have the urge to chop him into 8 pieces. Found it. Just as the two of them were about to clash, the little old man suddenly let out a maniacal and excited laugh. "Ha ha! I had forgotten that I had stuffed the jade tablet into the sole of my shoe. Now I've finally found him. Brat, you still don't dare to come in? Open the door for this old man." The old man raised his head proudly, his disdainful gaze sweeping towards the 2 guards guarding the door. "What did you say just now?" This old man snuck into spirit realm to steal rare materials and treasures? "Hurry up and come over here, open your dog eyes, and see what this thing in this old man's hand is." Chapter 356. The guard who had just mocked did not think that the little old man really had an entry token and stilled. The other guard was calmer. He did not even look at the little old man and said coldly, "Regardless of whether you have an entry token, you must let young Master Xiao through the door." Spirit Realm's entry tokens are also divided into ranks. Whoever's rank is higher will have the priority to enter Spirit Realm. The little old man frowned, his voice clearly angry. "That boy tricked me? I came to Spirit Realm to treat him, and was refused entrance. Not just that, He wanted me to make way for someone else. Ever since this old man's name shook the continent, I have never been treated like this. Yin Luofeng looked at the golden jade token in the little old man's hand. You hid this jade token under your feet. Do you not feel uncomfortable? Also, this jade token is so uncomfortable, you can't feel it? The little old man, who had originally been angry at the guard's words, immediately blushed when he heard Yin Luofeng's voice. He said embarrassedly, I was indeed too careless. I was worried that I would accidentally lose the jade pendant, so I hid it under my feet. The guard frowned slightly and looked coldly at the old and young blocking the door. He said impatiently, Have you said enough? If you have, then go to the side. Did you not see that young Master Xiao has been waiting here for a long time? In Spirit Realm, there was a rule. The higher the jade token, the higher the qualification to enter. This was a symbol of status and power. If someone else were to enter first, it would be equivalent to being dwarfed. This was something that no powerhouse would want to happen. The little old man knew this. With his temper, how could he be willing to be lower than others? Therefore, he straightened his body, raised his head, and said, On this continent, only others give way to me. I have never given way to others. If I give in today, and this matter spreads out, where do you want me to put my face? Face. Your reputation is comparable to that of the Shao clan's young master. The guard wanted to continue mocking him, but suddenly he saw the golden jade token in the old man's hand, and his face froze. Golden jade token? This old man held the noblest golden jade token in all of Spirit Realm. But wasn't the golden jade token only given out by that faction? Could it be that this old man was someone invited by that faction? The little old man did not understand why the guard had suddenly stopped talking, and he could not help but look at him in puzzlement. What did you want to say just now? The guard quivered and came back to his senses. He and his companion looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Senior. The guard no longer dared to show the contemptuous attitude he had before and quickly turned to face the little old man respectfully. I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai earlier and have offended this senior. I ask for senior's magnanimity to forgive me. The little old man was stunned, his eyes filled with astonishment. It was obvious that he did not know the reason for the guard's sudden change in attitude. Do you have a fever? Just a moment ago, he had been acting all high and mighty, but now he was bowing and scraping. Other than being sick, the little old man could not think of any other reason. The guard laughed embarrassedly. I just did not notice the jade token in your hand and did not know which faction you are from. Old senior, I will open the door and let you in now. Only then did the little old man come to a sudden realization. He said in understanding, so that fellow didn't cheat me. The jade plate he gave me was a grade higher than the Shao clan's. Otherwise, if he wanted me to make way for the Shao clan's brat, I would definitely turn around and leave. Chapter 357. The guard's heart trembled. He was clearly frightened. It seemed that this little old man was really someone invited by that power. From his words, he could tell that he was here to cure his illness. If he really angered him and left, he might be torn to pieces by that power. Thinking of this, the guard became even more worried, afraid that the little old man would report him to that power. Seeing this, Yin Luofeng narrowed her eyes and examined the little old man in front of her. What are you looking at? The little old man turned to look at Yin Luofeng. After meeting the young girl's eyes, which were filled with evil, his entire body trembled, and he hurriedly covered his chest. Don't tell me you've fallen for me? Let me tell you, I'm a chaste person. I'd rather die than submit. Yin Luofeng's face darkened. I'm just curious about your identity. The old man's eyes shifted a few times, and he said with a smile, If you acknowledge me as your master, I'll tell you. How about that? Then forget it. Yin Luofeng shrugged her shoulders and walked towards the open door. When she reached the door, she stopped. With her back facing Xiao Yuqing, she gently raised the corners of her lips and said, Have you ever heard of this saying? A debt of blood should be tasted with blood. Your mother did so many things in order to rise to the top. One day, someone will come to seek revenge on her. Saying this, she did not look back and stepped into the door of the spiritual realm. Xiao Yuqing stared in the direction that the young girl had left. A light flashed in his clear and cold eyes. Then, his gaze turned to the little old man who was putting away the golden jade tablet. Golden jade tablet? Which power was he from? It seemed that the two people he had met today were not simple, young master. The Xiao clan's guard stepped forward and cupped his fists. Shall we continue our journey? Xiao Yuqing nodded indifferently. We must return to the Xiao family within 3 days. Hiya. After saying this, Xiao Yuqing whipped the green horse's body. Immediately, the green horse galloped madly towards the main gate, kicking up a cloud of dust behind it that floated in the air for a long time. On the uneven mountain path, the little old man's gaze was curiously sizing up the young girl beside him. Only when the young girl stopped walking did he awkwardly and dryly laugh twice. Girl, tell me, do you have a grudge against that boy from the Xiao family? I've already said that I'm just standing up for the injustice. The corners of the young girl's lips curled up slightly. Her voice was calm and steady. However, her black eyes were filled with arrogance and dominance. She was like a wild horse that could not be tamed, arrogant and unruly. Fight for justice? The little old man rolled his eyes. Do you think I'm stupid? A person like you will fight for justice? If it wasn't for that brat from the Xiao clan angering you, you wouldn't have said those harsh words. Moreover, with his understanding of Yin Luofeng, this girl's personality was calm and steady. She had always been the one to cheat people in the dark. This could be seen just from the time she had cheated Mu Wuchen in the tea house. However, this time, facing Xiao Yuqing, she had completely lost her usual calmness. Every word was filled with thorns. If there wasn't any deep hatred between them, she would never have said such provocative words. I don't like him. Yin Luofeng raised her eyebrows devilishly. Her words completely exposed the nature of a hedonistic son of rich parents. Do you think I'll believe you? The little old man pursed his lips. If this little girl wanted to lie, she should have found a better reason. He would not believe that Yin Luofeng was purely unhappy with Xiao Yuqing. Chapter 358. Why not? Yin Luofeng's lips rose, and she said arrogantly, Since you have stayed in Long Yuan Nation, you should know what kind of person I am. I just don't like him. There is no other reason. Seeing that Yin Luofeng was determined not to tell him the reason, the little old man did not ask any further. He then sighed and said, This old man really likes you, little girl, and has the heart to take you as my disciple. Alas, you are unwilling to accept my good intentions. Since that is the case, I will not force you. If you have any needs, you can find me at any time. I will do my best to help you. The little old man's words caused a wave of warmth to flow through Yun Luofeng's heart. However, the Xiao family was a matter between her and Yun Xiao. She would not let anyone else interfere, unless she really had no other choice. Thank you. These two words carried Yun Luofeng's most sincere gratitude. No matter what, she accepted the little old man's good intentions. Ha! The little old man smiled as he rubbed his hands. If you want to thank me, give me a few more caddies of spirit tea. TSK. I really miss the taste of this spirit tea. All right. This time, Yin Luofeng did not refuse the little old man. She was silent for a moment and then added, The spirit tea I will give you this time is even better than last time. What? Even better than the spirit tea last time? The little old man's eyes lit up and he almost drooled. He stared nervously at Yin Luofeng. Then, can you give me that spirit tea now? Hearing this, Yin Luofeng took out a bag of spirit tea from her spatial ring and handed it to the little old man. This is your reward for bringing me in his spirit realm. Looking at the tea bag in the girl's hand, the little old man's breathing sped up. He snatched the spirit tea and hurriedly put it into his spatial ring, as though he was afraid that Yin Luofeng would take it back. Little girl, if you have any missions to lead the way in the future, please find me. I will definitely be there. Even if it was for the spirit tea, he was willing to be Yin Luofeng's guide, right? The little old man seemed to think of something and raised his head to look at Yin Luofeng. Do you know the map of Spirit Realm? Yin Luofeng shook her head. Qin Yuan had only given her the route to Spirit Realm. She hadn't obtained a map of Spirit Realm yet. If that's the case, then follow me first. I'm going to treat a patient. When I get there, I'll ask them to prepare a map for you. Moreover, if you're going to Xiao City, we're going the same way." Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. There was a hint of a smile in his evil black eyes. It seemed that this was the only way. After all, she was very unfamiliar with Spirit Realm. If there was no one to guide her, it would be very difficult for her to find the way to the Xiao family. Spiritual God Mountain Range. It was one of the forbidden lands of Spirit Realm. It was said that this mountain range was left behind by the Spirit God back then, so it was named the Spirit God Mountain Range. However, this was only a legend. Whether it was true or not, no one knew. At that moment, in a courtyard at the foot of the mountain, the little old man paused in his steps. There was a sense of seriousness in his eyes as he took a deep breath. His elderly hand slowly landed on the ancient door. Before he could push it open, the door opened with a creak. "Miracle Doctor, you've finally come." In the courtyard, a man poked his head out. His gaze turned and then stopped on the little old man. There was clear joy on his face. Chapter 359. What's the situation? The little old man was startled, and his expression was unprecedentedly serious. "Godly Doctor, my lord is waiting for you in the courtyard. Please follow me." The man opened the door, and his slender eyes stared at the beautiful young girl next to the little old man. He frowned and asked, "By the way, this young lady is my disciple." The little old man replied calmly, "So she's the godly doctor's disciple." The man heaved a sigh of relief. After all, this was a matter of great importance, and he could not let anyone else know about it. If she was the little old man's disciple, then it would be a different story. Yun Luofeng looked at the little old man and quickly turned away. He then followed the man into the main hall. The mansion was a little old and dilapidated. The ground was overgrown with weeds, as if no one had lived in it for a very long time. However, no matter how dilapidated the mansion was, it could not conceal the luxuriously dressed man in the main hall. This man was very powerful. From afar, one could feel the awe-inspiring aura from his body. He was like a high and mighty emperor. His domineering aura was natural. "Godly Doctor." When the man saw the old man at the door, his handsome and domineering features lit up with a smile. However, his smile was filled with sadness, and his face was filled with helplessness. "I've waited for you for a long time. I wonder if you can come with me to see my daughter's condition?" The little old man nodded solemnly. "All right, take me to her. Godly Doctor, please." The middle-aged man made an affectionate gesture and walked to the curtains. He then raised his hand and lifted the curtains that blocked the entrance to the back hall. There was a wooden bed in the back hall, and a pale-faced little girl was lying on it. The little girl was around 13 years of age. She looked like she was carved from jade and was very adorable. Her eyes were gently shut, and her long eyelashes were like cattail leaf fans, trembling slightly. Her face was so pale that it was almost translucent. "Xiao Bai's condition is worsening, and I'm afraid that she won't be able to hold on any longer. That's why I've come all the way here to find you. Godly Doctor, you know that Xiao Bai's identity is a little special, so she can't die." The man's gaze was fixed on the young girl on the bed, and he could not bear to look away. His eyes were filled with worry and deep anticipation for his beloved daughter. "Master, the blood in this girl's body is a little special." Just as Yun Luofeng was looking at the girl, little Mo's surprised voice came from within her soul. "Special?" Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and asked, "What makes her special?" Little Mo bit her lips. "I've been away from this continent for too long. There are many things that I don't understand, and my knowledge is not as vast as it used to be. All I know is that if you save her, she will be of great use to you in the future." Yun Luofeng fell silent. She trusted little Mo very much. Since little Mo said this, it proved that this little girl really had something special about her. However, she did not rush into action. Instead, she turned her gaze towards the little old man. The little old man furrowed his brows, and his elderly face was grave. "Xiao Bai's condition isn't very good. I need to diagnose her first, but I can't guarantee that I can cure her." Hearing this, the man's heart clenched and a layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. The godly doctor had never failed in treating a patient. But now, he said that even he might not be able to cure Xiao Bai. Chapter 360. Godly Doctor, no matter what, I'm already very grateful that I'm willing to save my daughter. The man slowly returned to his senses, and the corners of his lips curled into a bitter smile. If she really can't be saved, then I can only say that this is her fate. The little old man did not say anything else and slowly walked to the bed. He placed his hand gently on the young girl's pulse, and his originally tightly knitted brows furrowed even more. I knew that her condition wasn't too good, but I never thought that it would be this serious. Now that her internal organs have been destroyed, unless someone is willing to donate their organs, there's no saving her. The man's heart trembled and his eyes gradually darkened. After a moment, he seemed to have made a great decision and gritted his teeth. Godly Doctor, can I donate my organs? No. The little old man shook his head. The difference in power between you two is too great, so there's no way for her to use your organs. Otherwise, it would only hasten her death. The man's body stiffened. In that instant, he looked as if he had aged a few decades and half of his hair had turned white. It was obvious that he had been worried about his daughter's situation over this period of time. Xiao Bai has a kind nature. If the organs of another child were to be used to save her, she would rather die. The middle-aged man laughed bitterly, his expression filled with sorrow. It's laughable that I have such great power, but I can't even save my own daughter. Since that's the case, what's the use of my power? Don't blame yourself too much. This isn't your fault. The little old man patted the man on the shoulder and said with a sigh, No. The man clutched his head tightly and said in agony, You don't know how I feel. Back then, I couldn't protect my wife. Now, I can't even save my daughter. What's the point of living for a useless, good-for-nothing like me? The little old man wanted to continue persuading him, but before he could speak, the young girl's cold and emotionless voice rang out. Since you want to die so badly, you might as well bang your head against the wall and die. It's better than grumbling here. The man in green who had led Yin Luofeng and the little old man into the main hall heard Yin Luofeng's words, and his face changed. His eyes filled with rage. Can't you see that my lord is already so broken-hearted and you're still mocking him? What are your intentions? If not for the fact that this woman was the disciple of the divine doctor, he would have thrown her out long ago. She actually dared to say such words when Master was heartbroken. She was clearly doing it on purpose. Dai Li. The man waved his hand and stopped Dai Li. He looked at Yin Luofeng with a bitter smile. You're right. People like me should just kill themselves. I can't even protect my wife and daughter. What use am I? That's right. Yin Luofeng nodded in agreement. So, you can kill yourself here now and let the people who hurt your wife and daughter go free. In the beginning, the little old man had not understood the meaning behind Yin Luofeng's taunting of men. But now, he suddenly understood and did not stop the young girl's actions, but merely stood silently by the side of the bed to observe Lin Ruobai's condition. Yin Luofeng saw the change in the man's expression and continued. You said one thing right just now. You are good for nothing. Not only can you not protect your wife and daughter, you don't even have the courage to avenge them. A good-for-nothing like you really doesn't have a right to live in this world. It's better for you to kill yourself. The man's expression became more and more pained. He hugged his head tightly and squatted on the ground. Chapter 361. You don't understand. His pained expression carried a deep sense of helplessness. The people who hurt my wife and daughter are far too powerful. They're so powerful that I can't resist them. Even the entire spirit realm would be reduced to ashes under their power. How am I supposed to avenge them? I might as well keep my daughter company so that she won't be so lonely on her way to the Yellow Springs. Yin Luofeng laughed icily. I was once a good-for-nothing. My parents had been killed by scoundrels. At the time, I was just like an ant. Those scoundrels were so powerful that I was no match for them. Indeed, to Yin Luofeng, who had just transmigrated, the imperial family was an unshakable existence. However, she had been lucky enough to obtain the Divine Medicine Manual, which caused her cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds. She had only used half a year's time to avenge her parents. The man finally put down his hands and raised his head to look at Yin Luofeng. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but closed it in the end. His handsome features were curled into a bitter smile. Those people were only powerful to me at the beginning. Yin Luofeng took a deep breath. His insolent eyes were filled with confidence. I believe that as long as I put in more effort than others, I would eventually surpass them. Hence, not long ago, I had destroyed those people and avenged my parents. You must remember, there's no one you can't surpass. Even if you have to use up all your strength, you must avenge them. The man's body trembled slightly. His gaze swept towards the young girl lying on the bed, and his eyes were filled with pity. Xiaobai, I'm sorry. I won't be able to accompany you for now. Once I've killed those who hurt you and your daughter, I'll go and accompany you. His fingers gently brushed across the young girl's hair. His eyes were filled with gentleness, as if the sun was enveloping the young girl's body. The little old man sighed and said in self-reproach, I had thought that my medical skills were exquisite enough. I never thought that I would run into such a difficult problem today. Don't worry, I'll head to the Doctors Association in a while and gather everyone to discuss a cure. This little girl must not die. Lin Ruobai, this little girl, had a rather special status. Hence, he must cure her no matter what. A glimmer of hope appeared in the man's eyes. At this moment, he no longer cared whether the news of Lin Ruobai's injury could be spread. As long as he could cure her, he could ignore everything else. Let me try. Suddenly, a devilish voice entered the man's ears. He froze for a moment and turned his head to look at the beautiful girl who was lecturing him just now. Little girl, you know medicine? The little old man blinked in surprise. Didn't you say that you weren't interested in medicine? Yin Luofeng shrugged his shoulders. I'm just saying that I'm not interested in learning medicine from you. The little old man's face darkened, and his resentful eyes glanced at Yin Luofeng. That gaze seemed to be silently complaining. If it fell into the eyes of those who did not know the truth, they would think that Yin Luofeng had done something worse than a beast to him. Get out of my way. Yin Luofeng walked to the man's side and said in a low voice. Perhaps it was due to the shock from the young girl's words that the man could not help but stand up and obediently stood to one side, making way for Yin Luofeng. If it's just an injury, she wouldn't be this serious. Yin Luofeng frowned. If I'm not wrong, did you give her something to eat? Chapter 362. The man was stunned for a moment, then nodded gently. I gave her holy water. What holy water? Yin Luofeng glanced at the man. Can you take it out for me to see? The man hesitated for a moment, then finally took out a bottle of milky white holy water. Dai Li wanted to stop Yin Luofeng, but he was stopped by the man. He could only glare at Yin Luofeng with resentment, as if Yin Luofeng had come just to swindle the holy water. Little Mo, can you tell what this holy water is? Yin Luofeng took the holy water, lowered her eyes, and asked through her soul. After a while, Little Mo's soft voice sounded in her mind. Master, this spiritual marrow is good stuff, but it's not pure. If you can extract the essence from it, it can help you advance from a low-level earth spirit to a mid-level earth spirit. Yin Luofeng's eyes flickered a few times, a strange light flashing across her pitch-black pupils. She continued to ask, is this little girl's serious injuries related to the spiritual marrow? Little Mo shook her head. She probably didn't just take the spiritual marrow. There must have been something else, but I can't tell what it is. Yin Luofeng fell silent, thinking for a long time, then looked up at the man. Aside from the holy water, what else did you give her? The man frowned in thought, but after thinking for a while, he still couldn't figure out what else Lin Ruobai had taken. There doesn't seem to be anything else. Seeing the man's expression, Yin Luofeng understood that he really didn't know about Lin Ruobai's situation. I have a way to treat her, the girl slowly said. The man's eyes seemed to be lit up, and his breathing quickened as he looked at Yin Luofeng. Even the little old man couldn't help but turn his head, his astonished gaze falling upon the girl. You really have a way to save my daughter? The man was desperate. As long as he could save his precious daughter, he wouldn't let go of even the slightest hope. That's right. Yin Luofeng gently stroked her chin, but I have a request. After she recovers, I want her to be my disciple and stay by my side. Since little Mo said that there was something special about this girl, she could only be at ease by keeping her by her side. Hearing this, the man frowned again as if he was thinking about something. Soon, he made up his mind and gritted his teeth. As long as you can cure Xiao Bai, you can take her away. This was his only daughter. How could he bear to see her die like this? As long as she could live. So what if she had to leave his side? My lord, Diley called out anxiously. Miss Diley, you don't have to say anything more. I made up my mind. The man waved his hand. To me now, no matter what Xiao Bai's identity is, she's my daughter. As a father, I'm not willing to see my daughter die. So, if she can live, even if we father and daughter have to be separated, I have no regrets. Your words are too serious. Yin Luofeng's body lazily leaned against the side of the bed. I just want to take her away. I don't want you father and daughter to never meet again. If you want to see her, you can go find her anytime. The man's eyes became clear. I can really see Xiao Bai again? Yin Luofeng nodded slightly. If you want to see her, you can go find her. Also, treat this holy water as my treatment fee. Chapter 363. Watching the young girl calmly put away the holy water, the man's eyes hesitated. One had to know this holy water was rare even in the entire spirit realm. Other than him, only Xiao Bai had the fortune to use it. He hadn't thought that this girl would directly take away the holy water. However, the man didn't dare to have any complaints. He still needed Yin Luofeng's treatment. How could he offend her at this time? Also, if he could really cure Xiao Bai, it would be worth it no matter how much he paid. If my illness does not improve, you must come back for the holy water. Diley knew of his lord's concerns and didn't dare to say too much. But the meaning of his words was clear. Yin Luofeng could not cure his Mississippi. He was even more certain that Yin Luofeng came here to swindle and obtain the holy water of the clan. Yin Luofeng didn't even spare him a glance. She even more so turned a deaf ear to his words. She took out a cloth bag from her sleeve and carefully opened it. She took out a few silver needles from within. Go prepare a fire candle and some medicine. Yin Luofeng's brow furrowed as he ordered coldly. Dai Li, the man hurriedly turned to Dai Li and ordered, go prepare what this girl needs. Yes, my lord. Dai Li unwillingly cupped his fists. In his view, how could his disciple cure an illness that even the genius doctor could not? If his disciple really had this kind of strength, would she recognize the genius doctor as her master? After speaking, the man ordered someone to bring over a brush and paper. He had Yin Luofeng write down all the medicine she needed on the paper. Then, he sent Dai Li to the medicine store to buy the medicine. Fortunately, the medicine store was not far from the Spirit God Mountain range. Adding on that spirit realm was rich in medicine. It didn't take long for Dai Li to bring back all the medicine Yin Luofeng needed. Yin Luofeng lit a fire candle, disinfected the silver needles, and then slowly pressed them into Lin Ruobai's body. The reason Lin Ruobai had suffered such serious injuries was because someone had injected a thread of spirit energy into her body. That spirit energy was currently destroying her organs. But even so, she would not be injured to the point of falling unconscious. The reason why her injuries were so serious was because there was another kind of violent power in her body. This power did not originate from the spiritual energy the humans possessed, which was why Yin Luofeng had asked the man if he had given Lin Ruobai anything. I'll temporarily use spiritual power to seal the two powers in her body. Yin Luofeng wiped the sweat from his forehead and slowly stood up. I have a way to help her digest one of the spiritual powers. As for the other power, it's too violent and I can't help her absorb it. The man's expression tensed up, and he became nervous again. Will Xiao Bai still be in danger? Yin Luofeng glanced at the anxious man and slowly said, I can help her seal the other force for 3 years. During these 3 years, she must increase her strength. Once her strength is able to contend with this force, she will naturally be able to dispel it. However, she only has 3 years. So, even if you didn't agree to let me take her away, you have to make this decision now. Only by staying by my side will she grow faster. The man heaved a sigh of relief, and his eyes were filled with gratitude. Miss, I really don't know how to thank you. Also, what are these medicinal herbs for? Chapter 364. Use it to absorb spiritual power. The corners of Yin Luofeng's lips slowly curled up. Prepare the medicinal bath immediately. Everyone else is to leave. All right. The man nodded at Yin Luofeng confidently. I'll have you brew the medicine and send it to you later. With that, he waved his hand and led Dai Li out of the back hall. The little old man was a little hesitant. Girl, can you really cure him? I'm 60% sure. Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes. However, I will do my best. Ha! The little old man chuckled. Girl, you've really hidden yourself well. I didn't know that you had medical skills. If you really cure Xiao Ruobai, I can even acknowledge you as my master. Yin Luofeng hurriedly waved his hand. Forget it. You're too old. I don't want to accept an old man as my disciple. It's embarrassing. The little old man's face darkened. He glared at Yin Luofeng. I have the title of a divine doctor. You actually say that it's embarrassing to accept me as your disciple? This damn girl. It was fine if she didn't want to be his disciple. She actually said that it was embarrassing when he wanted to acknowledge her as his master. Was he really that bad? The little old man was full of resentment. There were countless people on this mainland who wanted to curry favor with him, but could not. He had taken the initiative to come to him, but this girl had turned her back on him. I'm going to undress her later. Do you plan on staying? Yin Luofeng looked at the little old man who had no intention of leaving. There was a hint of mockery in his eyes. The little old man blushed. If he really stayed, wouldn't Lin Jingfeng, who loved his daughter as much as his own life, fight him to the death? Although he couldn't defeat him, if that brat risked his life to take him down with him, he would definitely suffer some injuries. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. The little old man shook his head and walked out the door with his hands behind his back. After a while, he had already disappeared from Yin Luofeng's sight. Very soon, someone brought the medicinal bath over. After that person left, she walked to Lin Ruobai's side. Disliking the trouble of undressing her, she directly tore Lin Ruobai's clothes into pieces. Then, she lifted Lin Ruobai and threw her into the bathtub. Lin Ruobai remained silent in the milky white medicinal liquid. Perhaps the spiritual energy in her body was still desperately trying to break free from its restraints and charge around. Feeling the impact of the spiritual power, her body trembled, and her tightly knitted eyebrows revealed the pain she was suffering. Yin Luofeng's hand was tightly pressed against the girl's back, and a trace of spiritual power slowly entered her body through her back. Then, as if attracted by something, the violent spiritual energy calmed down and slowly flowed out of the body along with the strand of spiritual energy that Yin Luofeng had sent in. Logically speaking, based on Yin Luofeng's abilities, he should not have been able to extract the spiritual power from the young girl's body. However, don't forget her other identity. She was a doctor. For a doctor, anything was possible. It was because of these medicinal ingredients that Yin Luofeng was able to absorb so much spirit energy. Boom! Spiritual energy rushed into Yin Luofeng's mind, causing her body to shake violently. Then, a powerful force broke through the barrier in her body, and she entered a new realm. Earth Spirit Practitioner Intermediate Stage. Yin Luofeng opened her eyes, and the corners of her lips curled up. I never thought that I would have such a great opportunity in Spirit Realm this time. Unfortunately, this spiritual energy is too powerful, and I can only absorb a portion at most. Otherwise, it will cause my foundation to be unstable. However, if I don't absorb all of it, I won't be able to save her. Chapter 365. Squeak, squeak. Milk tea squeaked a few times and came out from Yin Luofeng's sleeve. Its pair of bright eyes were full of expectation. You want this spiritual power? Yin Luofeng looked at Milk Tea and asked. Milk Tea cupped its fists and continuously nodded as it squeaked. Open your mouth. Yin Luofeng no longer hesitated. With a flick of his finger, a stream of spiritual power entered Milk Tea's mouth. Having obtained what it wanted, Milk Tea happily crawled back into Yin Luofeng's sleeve and began digesting the spiritual power in its mouth. Once you've digested this spiritual power, you'll probably become an advanced earth spirit. Yin Luofeng sighed. Gold-seeking rats were different from humans after all. It did not need to worry about its foundation becoming unstable due to absorbing too much spiritual power. This made Yin Luofeng envious. Once I've dealt with this spiritual power, I'll seal the other power in her body next. Yin Luofeng's eyes gradually darkened. His gaze became solemn. Xiao, I need your help. 2 days. Ever since Yin Luofeng entered the back hall, he had not taken a single step for 2 days. Lin Jingfeng had been waiting anxiously in the hall for 2 days. He had wanted to enter the back hall a few times, but he resisted the urge in the end. At noon 2 days later, the curtains were finally lifted by a hand. Immediately, Lin Jingfeng's eyes lit up, and he quickly walked over. His face was filled with anxiety as he gazed at the beautiful girl who had walked out of the back hall. "Miss, how is it? Go in and take a look." Yin Luofeng did not say anything else. Instead, he moved to the side and made way for Lin Jingfeng. Lin Jingfeng hurried into the room. His gaze immediately landed on the girl sitting on the bed. He was unable to shift his gaze away. No one knew how much his heart was trembling at that moment. It was as if it was going to jump out of his chest. "Xiao Bai," he called out softly, afraid that he would accidentally disturb her. "Father, what happened?" Lin Ruobai rubbed his sleepy eyes. There was a perplexed look in his misty eyes, as if he didn't know what was going on. A gentle smile appeared on Lin Jingfeng's handsome face. "It's all right, Xiao Bai. Father has found you a master. From now on, you can cultivate with master. What do you think?" Lin Ruobai's eyes were like black agate, shining with a clear luster. Her small face was as fair as jade, so cute that people couldn't help but want to pinch it. "Daddy, don't you want little white anymore?" She pouted and looked at Lin Jingfeng with teary eyes. "Xiao Bai." Lin Jingfeng's heart ached. He walked to Lin Ruobai's side and gently rubbed her little head. His eyes were filled with love as he said, "Your master is your savior. You'll only be able to survive if you follow her. You can only return to your father's side when you're strong enough." Yin Luofeng was the only one who could help Lin Ruobai seal the power in her body. That meant that only by following her side could one feel at ease. Lin Jingfeng would never risk his daughter's life. Who knows when the seal would be broken? "I understand." Lin Ruobai held back her tears. A brilliant smile appeared on her fair and adorable face. Her eyes fluttered as if they could speak. "Father, I will work hard in my cultivation. I won't embarrass you." "Good, very good. That's my good daughter." "Ha ha." Lin Jingfeng swallowed the bitterness in his mouth and burst into laughter. As he laughed, he could not stop his tears from rolling down his face. Chapter 366. It was his good fortune that his daughter was so sensible. Perhaps Xiao Bai would grow to become very powerful by following Yin Luofeng. When that time comes, he would be able to avenge his wife. "Come, I'll take you to see your master." Lin Jingfeng bent down to carry the young girl and slowly walked towards the main hall. Before he reached the hall, he smelled the aroma of tea. This aroma made him salivate, and a layer of light appeared in his eyes. "Godly doctor, what tea are you drinking? Why is it so fragrant?" More importantly, after smelling the fragrance, he could clearly feel that his spiritual power had increased by a sliver. Even though this sliver was only the size of a fingernail, it was enough to fill his heart with excitement. You've never tasted this tea before, have you?" The little old man raised his head proudly. "I bought this spiritual tea from this little girl, and it cost me quite a bit of gold. TSK. I have to say, this tea is much better than the one you sold me last time. It's on a completely different level." What he was implying was that Yin Luofeng had dared to sell him a defective product last time and had kept such a good thing for himself. "This is not for sale." Yin Luofeng raised his teacup and took a gentle sip. "So, you should feel lucky to be able to drink this tea. I don't care. If I run out of tea in the future, I'll come and ask for more from you," the little old man said shamelessly. People like him were naturally shameless anyway. It was not a big deal for him to throw away his dignity for the sake of spiritual tea. "This," Lin Jingfeng said weakly. "Can you sell some of this tea to me? I'm willing to pay any price." Yin Luofeng slowly put down the teacup in his hand. On account of Lin Ruobai, I can give you 2 taels for free. The young girl's words nearly made the little old man go blind with envy. After all, Yin Luofeng had only given him 2 taels in total and had even extorted a large sum of silver from him. He never expected that he would give Lin Jingfeng 2 taels of tea right off the bat. That's so unfair. Little girl, if I become your disciple, you can give me 2 taels of tea as well, the little old man said pitifully. Yin Luofeng took another sip of tea and said unhurriedly, as I said, you are too old. Accepting a disciple like you is too shameful. Lin Jingfeng was stunned. He looked at Yin Luofeng and the little old man in disbelief. The godly doctor shamelessly begged to be his disciple, and he was actually rejected? No one would believe it. Xiaobai. Lin Jingfeng returned to his senses and released Lin Ruobai from his arms. He said gently, this is your master. You will follow her from now on, understand? Lin Ruobai blinked slightly, his bright eyes smiling at Yin Luofeng. After a long time, he said, Master, you're really good looking. Black lines covered Lin Jingfeng's face. For the first time, he felt that his daughter was very unreliable. Little White, go and surprise your master. Remember to listen to your master in the future. Lin Jingfeng shook her head helplessly. This little girl had been spoiled by her. She was really afraid that she would cause trouble outside. Yes, father, Lin Ruobai replied. Then, she took the tea her father handed her and skipped towards Yin Luofeng. When she reached Yin Luofeng, she knelt down on one knee and her adorable little face lit up with a dazzling smile. Her smile was like a warm ray of sunlight that could easily warm the hearts of others. Chapter 367. Master, please have some tea. Lin Ruobai said respectfully. Yin Luofeng put down the teacup in his hand and took the tea that Lin Ruobai handed over. He slowly brought it to his mouth and took a small sip. I still have other matters to attend to. I need to leave this place, so come with me now. Lin Jingfeng was stunned. He didn't expect to be separated from his daughter so soon. His heart was filled with sorrow. Miss, my daughter is very naughty and easily causes trouble. I hope you can take care of her along the way. Don't worry. Yin Luofeng put down his teacup. The corners of his lips curled into a smile. Since she is my disciple, I will not allow anyone to hurt her. She was a naturally protective person and would never allow anyone to harm the people around her. Lin Jingfeng heaved a sigh of relief. I'm relieved. Xiaobai, remember, don't cause trouble for your master. If you encounter something you can't solve, come back to me. I'll help you solve it. Got it. Lin Ruobai replied obediently. Her eyes darted back and forth as the smile on her adorable face deepened. Even though she was reluctant to part with her father, the thought of leaving this place to see the outside world filled her heart with excitement. By the way, Yin Luofeng paused and turned to look at Lin Jingfeng. Give me a map to the Xiao clan. The Xiao clan? Lin Jingfeng was slightly surprised. You want to go to the Xiao clan? Not bad. Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes, and there was a dangerous glint in them. I'm going to look for someone. Find someone to settle the score? Of course, she did not say these words out loud. Instead, a beautiful and demonic smile appeared on her face. That smile was as beautiful as a mandala flower. In the midst of danger, it tempted others to approach it. All right. Lin Jingfeng's expression gradually returned to normal. There was a complicated look in his eyes. I'll get Dai Li to prepare a map for you. However, I don't know what grudges you have with the Xiao family. If you need any help, you can come and find me at any time. At this moment, Dai Li, who was standing quietly to the side, had a face full of awkwardness. He had originally thought that Yin Luofeng had said such big word for the sake of the holy water. He had never thought that this young girl would really be able to cure the Mississippi. Furthermore, from the godly doctor's words, it seemed that this young lady wasn't his disciple. Instead, he wanted to take her as his disciple for Corner City. In the main hall of a Xiao clan, Ling Yao, who was sitting below, suddenly stood up. Her delicate face was filled with anger. Doesn't that trash know that he's not worthy of me? Why don't you break off the engagement no matter what? Yaoer. Ling Feng shot a warning glance at his granddaughter. Then he retracted his gaze and looked at Xiao Lin, who was sitting on the highest seat. He said, "Xiao family head, I want to know the reason why he's not willing to break off the engagement." Xiao Lin furrowed his brows, and his elderly features were filled with helplessness. It's not that he doesn't want to break off the engagement. It's just that he can't produce the engagement token. You should know that our families are the most trustworthy. If he wants to break off the engagement, he must return the engagement token. Bang! Ling Yao pushed aside the table in front of her and walked out of the hall. Yao. Ling Feng's face darkened as he asked coldly, "Where are you going?" Ling Yao gritted her teeth in anger. Her expression was full of malevolence, as if she was about to kill someone. "I'm going to find that good-for-nothing." She clenched her fists tightly. Don't think that I don't know that he had agreed to break off the engagement, but in reality, he doesn't want to. Otherwise, he wouldn't have hidden the engagement token. His motive is to marry me. Chapter 368. For a good-for-nothing like him, forget about marrying her. He didn't even have the right to look at her. In the Xiao residence's courtyard, Ling Yao could see the grim man standing in front of the tree from afar. Even after so many years, Ling Yao couldn't help but feel stunned the moment she saw the man's face. God was fair. When he was given a good-for-nothing physique, he also gave him such exquisite looks. It was like the work of the gods, sculpted to perfection. In the cold wind, his black robes fluttered and his seductive figure could be faintly seen through his robes. Ling Yao fiercely swallowed her saliva. How good would it be if this guy wasn't a good-for-nothing? Then she would definitely marry him. Thinking of this, Ling Yao's heart couldn't help but feel a little regretful. She gritted her teeth and quickly walked towards the man standing under the tree. "What will it take for you to let me go?" Ling Yao clenched her fists tightly. Every time she thought of this man clinging to her and refusing to let go, a deep anger surged in her heart. The man didn't seem to hear her voice. His black eyes were as cold as ever as he stared expressionlessly at the azure sky. It was as if he could see through the layers of clouds and see the person who lived in a faraway place. Ling Yao fiercely stomped her foot. "How long are you going to pester me? The person I love is Xiao Yuqing, not you. A good-for-nothing like you doesn't even have the right to carry my shoes." In her eyes, there was undisguised disgust, and the corners of her lips curled into a contemptuous angle. Yin Xiao retracted his gaze and slowly walked towards the east courtyard. From start to finish, he didn't even look at Ling Yao. It was as if he didn't notice her existence. Good-for-nothing. Ling Yao saw that this good-for-nothing dared to ignore her and roared angrily. "Let me tell you, playing hard to get is useless. I'll never like you." A good-for-nothing like Yin Xiao couldn't possibly ignore her. With an outstanding woman like her by his side, he would only think of ways to get close to her. And the reason why he ignored her was completely because he was playing hard to get. Did he think that he could attract her attention just like that? He must be dreaming. Her gaze would never stay on this good-for-nothing for the rest of her life. Even if this good-for-nothing looked so perfect. How is it? Xiao Jing walked over from behind her and frowned as he looked in the direction that Yin Xiao had left in. "This trash is too arrogant. I have observed him many times, but there is no one else in his eyes. He's clearly standing in front of you, but you don't seem to be in his eyes." Ling Yao coldly snorted and sarcastically said, "He probably heard from somewhere that I like cold men, so he pretended to be cold to attract my attention. Unfortunately, if he wasn't trash, I might consider it. Just based on the fact that he's trash, I won't like him." Although she wanted to marry Xiao Yuqing, a cold man like Xiao Yuqing wasn't the type she liked. It was only because of Xiao Yuqing's great talent and outstanding strength that she wanted to represent her family by marriage. Only by marrying Xiao Yuqing could their Ling family truly stand on the same boat as the Xiao family. Xiao Jing frowned. He still felt that Ling Yao's ego was too good. After observing him for the past few days, he clearly understood that this man really didn't put anyone in his eyes. He wasn't playing hard to get, as Ling Yao had said, but what he didn't understand was how much confidence did a good-for-nothing like him have to be so arrogant. Chapter 369. "Yao, let's go." Xiao Jing paused and said, Xiao Yuqing is back. Xiao Yuqing? Ling Yao's eyes lit up and her mood became joyful. Brother Yuqing is back? Come, let's go find him now. It's also good to dispel the unhappiness that trash brought me. After saying this, Ling Yao quickly walked in the direction of the hall. However, when she arrived at the hall, she was told that Xiao Yuqing had returned to the backyard to rest. She didn't stop and walk to the backyard. At this time, in a luxurious and exquisite room, the beautiful woman tightly grasped Xiao Yuqing's arm and examined him from head to toe. After seeing that her precious son was fine, she sighed in relief. There are some things you don't need to do yourself. It's enough to send the Xiao family disciples. Xiao Yuqing frowned, his cold eyes looking straight at the beautiful woman in front of him. Mother, I have something to ask you. What is it? Back then, was it really that woman who kidnapped Piao Shui and forced you to leave father? Lin Yu stilled. Maybe she didn't expect Xiao Yuqing to ask such a question. Her heart suddenly sank. Qing'er, you don't believe me? Am I that kind of woman who would steal someone else's husband? If that bitch hadn't used a trick to steal your father, there wouldn't be such a trash. The heavens really have eyes. She made a mistake and let her son bear it. The reason why her son is trash is because of this. After saying these words, Lin Yu interrogated, Qing'er, tell mother, who is it that is spreading rumors in your ears? When I returned to Spirit Realm this time, I met a woman. That woman claimed that you were a concubine and that your father favored the concubine over the wife. She also said that a debt of blood will be tasted with blood. So I came to ask you about what happened back then. Xiao Yuqing's frown loosened. No matter what, the woman in front of him was his mother. He believed her. Qing'er, don't listen to the nonsense of those crazy women in the future. Lin Yu frowned slightly. That woman probably approached you on purpose because she knew you were the young master of the Xiao family and wanted to get on your boat. Xiao Yuqing became silent. The old man beside the woman had a golden jade token, so his identity was definitely not ordinary. There was no need to form a relationship with him. What's more, he had never seen anyone humiliate someone's mother for the sake of a relationship. As a result, Xiao Yuqing, who had initially dismissed her suspicions about Lin Yu, was once again filled with doubt. A light flashed across her clear and cold eyes. Brother Yuqing, are you there? Just then, a delicate voice came from outside the door. Then, a slender hand pushed open the door and walked in. She smiled and said, Auntie, I'm looking for Brother Yuqing. Lin Yu changed her attitude after seeing Ling Yao. She said pleasantly, Yao, you're here. Your brother Yuqing has just returned, so I'll have to trouble you to accompany him. Ling Yao hooked Xiao Yuqing's arm with a mischievous smile on her face. Auntie, don't worry. I'll bring Big Brother Yuqing out to play. Big Brother Yuqing, let's go out now. Facing Ling Yao's actions, Xiao Yuqing did not resist and allowed her to pull him out of the room. However, when they reached the door, he raised his hand and gently pushed Lin Yu's arm away. Then, he said coldly and indifferently, There is a difference between a man and a woman. Please behave yourself. Chapter 370. Ling Yao looked at her empty arm and felt slightly displeased. Brother Yuqing, we're going to be husband and wife soon. What's the difference between a man and a woman? At least not yet. Xiao Yuqing's gaze was as cold as ever, but he felt slightly annoyed. If you continue to be so touchy, I won't see you again. Ling Yao's body stiffened, and an aggrieved expression appeared on her face. Brother Yuqing, I was bullied by that good-for-nothing. That's why I came to find you. I want you to take revenge for me. I really didn't do it on purpose. Good for nothing? Xiao Yuqing's eyes revealed a hint of confusion. You mean? That's right. It's that good-for-nothing who was chased out of the Xiao family. Ling Yao's face was filled with anger. That good-for-nothing is too much. He's clearly not good enough for me with his status, but he still won't let me go. I don't believe that he doesn't have the engagement token. The token must have been hidden by him. Xiao Yuqing frowned. He's back. Her half-brother had finally come back. Brother Yuqing, are you going to take revenge for me or not? Ling Yao stomped her foot angrily. That good-for-nothing is too much. How can you tolerate your fiancé being bullied? For some reason, Xiao Yuqing heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that Yun Xiao had not handed over the engagement token. If he had not handed it over, Perhaps he would not have had to marry a willful and unruly girl like Ling Yao. That's between you and him. It has nothing to do with me, Xiao Yuqing said coldly. His tone was indifferent, and he clearly did not care about Ling Yao at all. If grandfather had not asked him to marry her, he would never have taken her as a concubine no matter what. Ling Yao was stunned. She did not expect Xiao Yuqing to say something like that. Tears welled up in her eyes. Brother Yuqing, I'm tired. Xiao Yuqing closed his eyes tiredly. You should go. Ling Yao bit her lip tightly. She looked at Xiao Yuqing reluctantly, then turned around and ran out of the courtyard. Her tears flowed down, emitting a sparkling radiance in the air. Xiao Yuqing slowly opened his eyes and stared coldly in the direction where Ling Yao had left. His handsome face was cold, and his eyes were devoid of warmth. At that moment, Xiao Yuqing frowned slightly as the scene of him and Yun Luofeng clashing with each other appeared in his mind. I will definitely figure out who was right and who was wrong, and give my mother justice. This also made the young girl understand that he wasn't some illegitimate child, but the true young master of his Xiao family. On this continent, it was normal for a man to have 3 or 4 wives. However, if he became a legitimate son from a concubine, it would be very different from being a legitimate son. He had to clear his name. According to the map, this is the territory of the Xiao family. On the bustling streets of Four Corner City, Yin Luofeng had a lazy and evil smile on his face. A smile flashed across his deep eyes. Perhaps thinking that she would be able to see Yun Xiao soon, the smile in her black eyes grew wider. Xiaobai. When Yun Luofeng came back to her senses, she suddenly realized that Lin Ruobai, who had been by her side, had disappeared. Just as she was about to look for him, she saw Lin Ruobai walking towards her with 2 sticks of candied hawthorn. Master, here. Lin Ruobai handed a stick of candied hawthorn to Yun Luofeng and blinked her large eyes, waiting for praise. Don't you think your disciple is very filial? Yun Luofeng frowned slightly. Where did you get this candied hawthorn? I remember that your father didn't give you any silver. Lin Ruobai cutely took a bite of the candied hawthorn and tilted her head to look at Yun Luofeng. Of course I took it. It tastes very good. Master, do you want to try it? As she spoke, a wild shout came from behind Lin Ruobai. The voice was extremely loud and was quickly followed by the sound of running footsteps. Catch the thief! Catch the thief! Chapter 371. Lin Ruobai's mouth was still stained with sugar. She blinked in confusion and turned to look at the group of people chasing after them. Master, are they chasing after thieves? How could there be thieves in my father's territory? After Lin Ruobai said this, the group of burly men quickly surrounded the 2 of them. One of them walked up and said fiercely, "Take these 2 thieves back." Lin Ruobai blinked innocently and pointed at herself. Thieves, are you talking about me? Who else could it be? The burly man snorted. You took my Tonghu Lu and didn't pay. If you're not a thief, then what are you? Lin Ruobai hid behind Yin Luofeng and muttered, I didn't know. Didn't know you had to pay? Are you fucking stupid? Don't think I'll let you off just because you're using this excuse. I don't think the 2 of you are so poor that you don't even have a few copper plates. Since you don't want to pay, then I'll take the 2 of you back to be my wives. Seeing the burly man's arm about to land on her shoulder, Lin Ruobai's cute face flashed with anger. Although she had been isolated from the world all these years, she understood what it meant to be someone's wife. This man was so daring to take advantage of her. Get out of my way. Lin Ruobai's small fist slammed into the burly man's chest. The burly man, who was several times her size, was sent flying by the punch and fell in the stall next door. Lin Ruobai was shocked. She looked at her own fist, then turned to Yun Luofeng, feeling wronged. Master, did I cause trouble for you? I really didn't know I had to pay for things. Father never taught me this. Yin Luofeng raised his hand and patted Lin Ruobai's head. You've never been to this kind of market before? Lin Ruobai hurriedly shook her head and looked pitifully at the beautiful girl standing in front of her. She fiddled with the corner of her clothes and said bashfully, Father won't let me go down the mountain. I've never been to a place like this before. I don't know how to pay, don't worry. Yun Luofeng patted Lin Ruobai's head, the corners of his lips curving up. His dark eyes shone with a dazzling light. Leave this matter to me. Lin Ruobai blinked slightly as he looked at the girl's confident eyes. He obediently followed behind Yun Luofeng. How much did the candied haws cost in total? Yun Luofeng lowered his eyes to look at the burly man lying on the stall and asked in a low voice. The burly man climbed up from the stall and sneered. This little thief stole my things. How can I let her go so easily? I don't want her money now. I want you two to be my wives. Yun Luofeng frowned slightly. His dark eyes quietly stared at the burly man in front of him. Are you sure? The burly man licked his dry lips, a lascivious light in his eyes. I didn't think that Yurong, would be so lucky. After being a bachelor for so many years, I can still get two beautiful wives at a time like this. Don't worry, if you follow me, I won't treat you unfairly. Chapter 372. The more Lin Ruobai heard, the angrier she became. It was one thing for these people to disrespect her, but they dared to use such filthy words to defile her master. Unforgivable. Xiaobai was indeed in the wrong in this matter. I'll give you 10 silvers for taking your things as compensation. I said, I don't want silver, I only want a wife. The burly man stared at Yun Luofeng with a pair of drooling eyes, almost drooling. 10 silvers is nothing compared to a peerless beauty like you. These two women did not look like they were from Four Corner City. They were probably foreigners. If he did not bully them, who else could he bully? All the people who set up stalls in Four Corner City were of the same mind. If these two women did not submit to him, they could forget about staying in Four Corner City. I gave you a chance. Yun Luofeng sighed and leaned to the side. Xiaobai, if you want to beat them up, go ahead. Just don't kill them. Lin Ruobai's eyes brightened. She grinned and rubbed her palms, her eyes shining. Can I really beat people up? This girl had a violent streak in her bones. When she heard Yun Luofeng ask her to fight, the smile on her little face immediately became very bright. With just you two little girls? The burly man smiled coldly and waved his hand. He gritted his teeth and said, Let's go and capture these two little girls. In an instant, everyone picked up the weapons in their hands and charged fiercely towards Lin Ruobai. Lin Ruobai, who was surrounded by the crowd, did not feel afraid at all. A bright smile hung on her cute little face as she stared excitedly at the crowd that was charging towards her. Stop! Just as those people were about to reach Lin Ruobai, a cold shout suddenly rang out. Everyone stopped in their tracks and turned to look at the newcomer. Behind the crowd, a man dressed in a long green robe walked slowly towards them. His features were exquisite and his face was handsome. His cold black eyes pierced through the crowd and landed on the beautiful girl who was standing lazily. The girl narrowed her eyes slightly, her black eyes staring at the cold man who was walking through the crowd. There was a dangerous light in her eyes. Master, do you not like this man? Lin Ruobai, who had just retracted her aura, felt the coldness from Yun Luofeng's body. She couldn't help but feel a little surprised. She didn't understand. Why would her master dislike such a good-looking man? Yun Luofeng didn't say anything. He pursed his thin lips, and a cold light flashed in his evil black eyes. When he saw Xiao Yuqing walk over, Lin Ruobai grabbed Yun Luofeng's arm tightly. His bright eyes flickered, and he subconsciously wanted to shield Yun Luofeng behind him. This man was indeed good-looking, but she didn't like the way he looked at her master. More importantly, Master didn't like him. She didn't like people that her master didn't like either. Young Master Xiao. The burly man was stunned when he saw Xiao Yuqing slowly walking towards him. Then, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. I didn't know that these two ladies were acquainted with young Master Xiao. I offended them earlier. Please forgive me, young Master Xiao. The corners of Xiao Yuqing's thin lips curled into a cold arc. With his back facing the burly man, his voice was like a clear spring that flowed into one's heart. How much silver do they owe you? This is only a few copper coins. The burly man's back was drenched in cold sweat as he looked at Xiao Yuqing guiltily. You want to exchange 2 wives for a few copper coins? You're quite good with your calculations. It's a pity that you don't become an accountant. Chapter 373. The burly man's body shook, and he said embarrassedly, I was just joking. That's right, I was just joking. Young Master Xiao, since these two are your friends, I won't take those copper coins. With that, the burly man did not wait for Xiao Yuqing's reply and hurriedly turned to leave. His footsteps were hurried, as if he was being chased by monsters. Xiao Yuqing stared quietly at Yin Luofeng, who was standing in front of him. His eyes were clear and cold. We meet again. So what? Yin Luofeng raised an eyebrow and asked. Hearing this, Xiao Yuqing took 2 steps closer to her. There was a look of certainty in his handsome eyes. I will prove to you that my mother was not wrong. The man's tone was very serious as he stared coldly at Yin Luofeng. Are you done? Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a smile. If you're done, then I should leave. Xiaobai, let's go. After saying this, Yin Luofeng grabbed Lin Ruobai's arm and pulled her, who was filled with confusion, some distance away before letting go. Many people had already gathered on the bustling street. However, Xiao Yuqing did not seem to hear the discussions around him. He stood quietly in the middle of the street, and his clear eyes followed Yin Luofeng's footsteps as he gradually walked away. On the street, Lin Ruobai fiercely bit into a candied fruit and said angrily, Master, did that guy bully you? I didn't think that he would be such a good-looking person, but a scumbag. No, I can't let Master be bullied. I'll write a letter to Father later and ask him to bring people to kill this scumbag. In Lin Ruobai's opinion, anyone that Yin Luofeng did not like was not a good person. He must have hurt Yin Luofeng before. As for her, how could she tolerate someone bullying her beloved master? Even though she liked handsome men were not as important as her master. She would not let anyone who bullied her master go, no matter what they looked like. Suddenly, a faint fragrance drifted over. Lin Ruobai, who had been fighting for Yin Luofeng's justice, was instantly distracted. Her large, bright eyes looked toward a nearby restaurant, and saliva slowly flowed from the corner of her mouth. Master, I'm hungry. She wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth and turned her head to look pitifully at Yin Luofeng. Let's go. A lazy smile appeared on Yin Luofeng's face. Let's go rest here for a while, then I'll think of a way to find him. Right now, Yin Xiao should be in the Xiao family. If she wanted to enter the Xiao family, it wouldn't be that easy. Hence, this matter needed to be considered at length. What? In the boudoir of the Ling family's backyard, Ling Yao slammed the table and rose to her feet. A hint of anger appeared on her delicate face. There's actually a woman seducing Brother Yuqing in public? How audacious. Let's go, I'm going to find Brother Yuqing now, and also take a look at what kind of slut that woman is. Xiao Yuqing was called the genius of Spirit Realm. His talent was outstanding at such a young age. In the entire Spirit Realm, she was the only one who was a match for him. He really didn't know if that slut had any self-awareness. She actually dared to seduce Xiao Yuqing with that kind of trash. Unfortunately, when Ling Yao rushed to Xiao Yuqing's side, she only saw him standing alone in the middle of the street, quietly staring at the endless road in front of him. She suppressed the displeasure in her heart and smiled coquettishly as she walked towards Xiao Yuqing. She wrapped her arm around the crook of his arm familiarly, a coquettish smile on her face. Chapter 374. Big Brother Yuqing, I've been looking for you for a long time. I didn't think that you'd be here. Xiao Yuqing discreetly pulled his arm out and asked coldly, What are you doing here? The man's voice carried a coldness that kept people at arm's length. It was so cold that there was no warmth in his voice. It was like a block of ice that chilled Ling Yao's heart to the bone. Big Brother Yuqing, and had asked me to eat with you. Ling Yao stared at Xiao Yuqing with an aggrieved look. Let's go to the nearest restaurant, all right? Hearing that it was Lin Yu who asked Ling Yao to come, Xiao Yuqing didn't refuse her. He nodded lightly and said in his usual cold voice, Okay, I can accompany you to the restaurant for a meal. However, if you touch me again, I won't see you again. Ling Yao's heart shook violently, and she clenched her fists tightly. Xiao Yuqing was too cold towards her. He was so cold that it was slightly abnormal. He must have taken a liking to some other woman for him to act like this. If she found out who had seduced Big Brother Yuqing, she would tear that person into pieces. Big brother Yu Qing, let's go. Ling Yao suppressed the bitterness in her heart and forced a smile on her delicate and pretty face. She instinctively reached out to hold the crook of Xiao Yuqing's arm, but she withdrew her hand the moment she touched Xiao Yuqing's. A fragrant aroma wafted through the air at Soaring Dragon Restaurant. Ling Yao stood at the restaurant's entrance and turned to look at the man next to her with a smile. Big brother Yu Qing, shall we go to this restaurant? The man did not seem to hear her. His eyes stared silently at the restaurant's main hall. His cool gaze was as calm as the surface of a lake. Ling Yao stared blankly for a moment and could not help following Xiao Yuqing's gaze. Suddenly, a beautiful and familiar face appeared before her eyes. Suddenly, Ling Yao's pupils shrank and a wave of anger rose in her heart. She would never forget the humiliation she had endured in Long Yuan Nation. She would never forget the arrogant expression on this girl's face when she had stepped on her. Now, she had come to Spirit Realm and was delusional enough to seduce her big brother Yu Qing. When she thought of this, Ling Yao could no longer control her violent heart and charged angrily towards Yin Luofeng. She seemed to have forgotten about the black pill that she had been forced to consume in Long Yuan country. She had also forgotten about being controlled by Yin Luofeng. Bitch, how dare you come here? Yin Luofeng, who was playing with his milk tea, suddenly heard an angry shout and couldn't help but frown. His dark eyes lifted slightly, and he glanced at Ling Yao, who was about to kick the table. The girl glanced at Ling Yao's legs arrogantly, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. If you don't want her legs anymore, feel free to kick this table. Ling Yao's legs stiffened, and she stopped in midair. A trace of fear appeared in her eyes. It was obvious that what happened that day had caused great damage to her heart. Even after so many years, she still felt a deep fear towards a girl in front of her. Humph. Ling Yao snorted coldly and put her leg down. Her brows were filled with arrogance. I was worried that the table you used would dirty my feet. Even if she feared Yin Luofeng in her heart, she would not show it. Otherwise, how much face would she have? Let's continue, don't mind her. Yin Luofeng's fingers caressed Milk Tea's small body. His black eyes looked towards Lin Ruobai at the side as he spoke with a smile. Chapter 375. Lin Ruobai blinked as if she understood. She scooped up a mouthful of bird's nest and put it into her mouth. Her bright eyes were filled with confusion. However, she still responded, "Oh." Since Master told her to ignore her, then she would listen to Master. However, this woman did not look like a good person. She dared to insult Master. If her father was here, she would let him take care of her immediately. Hey, Ling Yao had wanted to call Yin Luofeng's name. However, she remembered that she did not even know his surname. She could only use this one word to address him. However, Yin Luofeng's disregard for her completely provoked the anger in her heart. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anger. I really don't know what the two gatekeepers of Spirit Realm are doing. An outsider actually managed to sneak in. I think that you must have come here to steal the treasures of Spirit Realm. One needed a pass to enter Spirit Realm. However, Spirit Realm would not casually give the pass to an outsider. Yin Luofeng was only a hedonistic son of Long Yuan Nation. With his status, he did not have a right to enter Spirit Realm. It could be imagined that the two gatekeepers must have fallen for her honey trap. That was why they let her into Spirit Realm. At the entrance of the restaurant hall, Xiao Yuqing looked at Ling Yao, who went to cause trouble for Yin Luofeng. He frowned slightly, and the light in his eyes grew colder. No one knew better than him how Yin Luofeng entered Spirit Realm. The old man beside him had a gold jade token. His status was obviously not ordinary. So, how could this girl be an ordinary person? He couldn't even see through the cute little girl next to her. However, he would not tell Ling Yao these things. If Ling Yao really provoked Yin Luofeng, he might be able to borrow Yin Luofeng's hand to take care of this woman for him. Are you even listening to me? Ling Yao saw that Yin Luofeng had once again ignored her. Her beautiful face suddenly changed. She walked forward with a face full of anger. I'm telling you, this is the territory of the Ling and Xiao families. Here, I have a final say. Bang! Yin Luofeng kicked the table away, and the dishes on the table flew up. A dish coincidentally smashed into Ling Yao's face and slowly fell off her face. Ling Yao was dumbfounded. She stared in shock at Yin Luofeng, who was slowly standing up. When she saw the young girl walking toward her, she subconsciously took a few steps back. There was a trace of fear in her voice as she said, "What? What do you want? What do I want?" Yin Luofeng's lips curled into an evil smile. "Of course I want to. Fuck you." These were originally very evil words, but when they came out of Yin Luofeng's mouth, they were domineering and caused the fear in people's hearts to increase. Boom! Yin Luofeng raised his leg and kicked Ling Yao, sending her flying into the air and crashing in front of Xiao Yuqing. However, Xiao Yuqing didn't even look at Ling Yao, who was lying on the ground. Her cold eyes were fixed on Yin Luofeng. "You're crazy." Ling Yao struggled to get up from the ground. She was so angry that her entire body was trembling. She glared at Yin Luofeng and said, "Do you know what you're doing? This is Four Corner City, not Long Yuan Country." Yin Luofeng raised his eyes slightly, and his unruly eyes glanced at Yin Yao. "Your saliva has splashed on my food." What he meant was that because her saliva had splashed on his food, he didn't want the food on the table anymore. Lin Ruabai bit his chopsticks and looked at the dishes on the floor with an aggrieved expression. He looked like he was about to cry. Chapter 376. Her delicacies had been ruined just like that. It was all this woman's fault. If she had not spilled her saliva onto the food, her master would not have ruined the table, and she would not have to drool over the food on the floor. Lin Ruabai swallowed her saliva and glared fiercely at Ling Yao with her large, bright eyes. "Damn girl, how dare you glare at me?" Facing Yin Luofeng, Ling Yao was still a little fearful. After all, what had happened in Long Yuan Country that day was her lifelong nightmare. But even this little girl had dared to glare at her. Did she really think that she was so easy to bully? "Master, can I beat her up?" Lin Ruabai controlled the rage in her heart and turned towards Yin Luofeng. "By my side, you can beat up whoever you want. You don't have to ask me." If Lin Jingfeng had heard Yin Luofeng's words, his heart would probably have turned cold. After all, Lin Ruabai was a devil-like existence in the family and had stirred up quite a bit of trouble. He had hoped that Yin Luofeng would teach this little girl a lesson. Who would have thought that this little hedonist would meet a big hedonist? What good would that do? Lin Ruabai's eyes lit up in an instant, and the corners of her lips gradually widened into a smile. She clenched her fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. A little girl who had popped out of nowhere dares to be so impudent in front of me. Ling Yao laughed icily, and her face was filled with disdain. Did your parents not teach you that when you meet someone stronger than you, you have to admit defeat? Because Yin Luofeng had come from Long Yuan Country, this little girl must be the daughter of a noble family in the secular world. However, no matter how high her status was in the secular world, she had to bow down to her master here. Slap! Suddenly, a white figure flashed past like a gentle breeze and quickly appeared in front of Ling Yao. With a loud slap landed on Ling Yao's face. In an instant, Ling Yao's left cheek turned red and swollen. Perhaps she had not expected that Lin Ruabai would really hit her, and Ling Yao was stunned. After a moment, she suddenly regained her senses, and her eyes slowly filled with raging flames. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws as she pounced towards Lin Ruabai. "Damn girl, you dare to hit me. You actually dare to hit me." Lin Ruabai raised his head as he stared at Ling Yao, who was charging towards him. His snow-white features carried a sneer as he said, "So what if I hit you? What can you do about it? Who asked this woman to insult Master? Those who scolded Master deserve to die. Moreover, the entire spirit realm belonged to her family. Why would she be afraid of the Ling family? Bitch, go to hell." Ling Yao's expression was malevolent, and her aura suddenly surged. A sharp sword had appeared in her hand, and she charged at Lin Ruabai with all her might. Yin Luofeng narrowed her eyes. A dangerous light flashed across her eyes. However, she did not make any moves. Instead, she stood quietly beside Lin Ruabai and watched. She also wanted to know Lin Ruobai's true strength. Stop. Xiao Yuqing, who had been standing silently to the side, watched the scene unfold. His handsome face changed in an instant, and he appeared next to Ling Yao in a flash, pressing down on her shoulder tightly. Ling Yao, you've crossed the line. His voice was clear and calm, but it made the flames of anger in Ling Yao's heart burn even more. Big Brother Yuqing must have taken a liking to these two women. That's why he had stopped me. I will never give Big Brother Yuqing to anyone else. Chapter 377. Brother Yuqing, let go of me. I want to teach these two women a lesson. Jealous women were crazy. She had even forgotten about the injuries she had suffered in Long Yuan country. She only wanted to kill these two people, especially Yin Luofeng. She had seduced Brother Yuqing with her looks. She could not forgive her. Yin Luofeng shook her head regretfully. She originally wanted to use this to test White Yi's strength, but she didn't expect to be stopped by Xiao Yuqing apologize. Xiao Yuqing's eyes darkened as he spoke coldly. Although he wanted to use Yin Luofeng to solve this problem, if Ling Yao really attacked them, the consequences would be out of control. She might even drag the Xiao family down. Brother Yuqing, these two women hit me. Ling Yao trembled and glared angrily at Yin Luofeng and Lin Ruobai. It was clearly their fault. Why did Brother Yuqing want her to apologize? She would never bow her head to these two women. Lin Ruobai wrinkled his adorable white head and said unhappily to Xiao Yuqing, "Go away. I want to teach this woman a lesson. Let's see if she dares to scold my master again." Damn, girl, with that little bit of strength of yours, I can crush you to death with one hand. Ling Yao gritted her teeth. In this world, she was the only one who looked down on others. No one could look down on her. Xiao Yuqing frowned and looked coldly at Yin Luofeng and Lin Ruobai. I'll let her apologize to you. Let's forget about what happened today. Brother Yuqing. Ling Yao stomped her foot fiercely. However, Xiao Yuqing was holding her shoulder tightly, and she could not move. All she could do was glare at Yin Luofeng hatefully. Bitch, don't think that I don't know that you've seduced Brother Yuqing. Someone like you will never be able to enter the Xiao family. Stop dreaming. I'm about to be engaged to Brother Yuqing. Even if you don't let go of him, you'll only be a concubine. Furthermore, with her status, she was not even fit to be a concubine of the Xiao family. Yin Luofeng curled the corners of his lips. His pitch-black eyes slowly swept past Ling Yao, and then his gaze landed behind her. At this moment, the young girl's eyes calmed down and exuded a demonic aura. Sorry, I already have a man. Ling Yao sneered, her eyes filled with disdain. You have a man? Do you think I'll believe you? You were just looking for an excuse because I caught you seducing Brother Yuqing. I'm not stupid enough to believe your words. Perhaps it was because she was in a good mood that Yin Luofeng did not make a move to teach Ling Yao a lesson this time. Her peerless features were curled into a devilish smile, and her black eyes shone like the stars in the night sky. My man is behind you. If you don't believe me, you can take a look. Ling Yao was stunned for a moment, and astonishment flashed in her eyes. Could it be that this woman already had a man? Thinking of this, she could not help but turn around, her beautiful eyes looking at the man standing at the entrance of the restaurant. She wanted to see who had the courage to even want such a wanton and unrestrained woman. Besides, this woman had seduced Brother Yuqing in front of him. After they get married, she would definitely have an affair. However, Ling Yao's face froze when she saw the man behind her. She cried out in disbelief, "It's you." Chapter 378. The man did not seem to have heard her words. He slowly walked towards the white-robed young lady who was standing in the hall. His paralyzed face seemed to have cracked, carrying a faint curve. "You're here." These three simple words expressed the endless yearning in his heart. It was like a hand caressing Yin Luofeng's heart. "I came to find you." The girl's lips curved into a faint smile. Her dark eyes quietly stared at the man standing next to her. Her eyes were filled with evil. "I also wanted to see if you've hooked up with other women." Yin Zhao's gaze was still serious. She looked at Yin Luofeng without blinking. "I only look at you." In this world, besides her, all other women were like a pile of bones in his eyes. What was there to look at? Thinking of this, The man paused and then continued. In this lifetime, I can't even get enough of looking at you. Why should I waste my time on other people? These were the best words of love that Yun Luofeng had ever heard. He couldn't even get enough of looking at her in his lifetime. Why would he waste his precious time on other women? Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. The smile on his lips gradually became dangerous. Who taught you these words? No one taught me. Indeed, no one had taught him these words of love. He had only said what he wanted to express in his heart. It seems that my training over the past 6 months has been quite effective. You're enlightened. Yun Luofeng curled the corners of his lips. His eyes were full of smiles. In the future, I don't need to train you anymore. Yun Xiao frowned. Not enough. Why? Because I want to be trained by you. If someone else had said these words, Yun Luofeng could have taken it as flirting with her. However, when it came from Yun Zhao's mouth, it became serious. It made it impossible for anyone to think in that direction. Lin Ruobai blinked and looked at Yun Luofeng. Then, she looked at the cold man in front of her. Her eyes flashed with excitement. There's an affair. Master must be having an affair with this man. However, this man was much better looking than Xiao Yuqing. He was qualified to be with such an outstanding master. The more Lin Ruobai thought about it, the more excited she became. The seeds of gossip gradually sprouted in her heart. Unfortunately, before Lin Ruobai could gossip any further, a voice that dampened the mood sounded from the side. When you attacked me in Xiao, Jing, and Long Yuan country, it wasn't because you disliked us, but because of this trash, am I right? Ling Yao pointed at Yun Xiao angrily, gnashing her teeth as she asked. Who would have thought that the injuries they had suffered that day were all because of this trash? You just found out? Yun Luofeng glanced at Ling Yao and smirked. In this world, there's no such thing as hatred for no reason. It's funny that you guys really think that I just don't like you. I'm just helping my man vent his anger. You? Ling Yao glared angrily at Yun Luofeng. You've really given up on yourself. You actually got together with this piece of trash. I'm telling you, you're just picking up trash that I don't want. During this period of time, Ling Yao had suffered a lot, so she naturally vented the anger in her heart at this time. In her opinion, a proud person like Yun Luofeng would never bother to pick up other people's trash. The person you treat as trash is the most precious treasure in my heart. Yun Luofeng's gaze was like the dark night, deep and terrifying. Furthermore, there will come a day when you will regret your decision. Chapter 379. No one was clearer than Yun Luofeng about Yun Zhao's power. That was why he was so certain that one day, Ling Yao would regret this for the rest of her life. Regret. Ling Yao laughed icily and spoke in a mocking tone. Don't you know? This man of yours isn't a good person. He keeps pestering me and refuses to back out of an arranged marriage. He insists on marrying me, so I reckon that he's only playing with you. For a man like him who keeps pestering me because of my high status, would he give you his heart? Especially towards this kind of man, he would never regret it. The man, who had ignored Ling Yao from the beginning, finally turned his cold eyes to her after hearing these self-righteous words. However, this one look caused Ling Yao's body to tremble. Her heart felt as if it had been squeezed by a hand, and a suffocating feeling came out of nowhere, causing her to feel extreme fear. Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng gently placed his hand on Yun Zhao's arm. His eyes darkened, and he spoke in a voice that only the two of them could hear. You can't reveal your power for the time being, so let me handle this matter. Based on what Qin Yuan had told her previously, Yun Xiao must have something that could threaten her life in the hands of the Xiao family. If he were to reveal his power now, the Xiao family would certainly pester him endlessly. Given Yun Zhao's temper, she would never return to the Xiao family. At that time, she would certainly bring danger to him. This was something that she did not wish to see. She's framing me. Yun Xiao retracted the murderous intent on his body, and his demonic red lips curled into a cold and hard angle. His eyes were filled with a cold light. Just now, he had indeed wanted to kill her. Before Yun Luofeng had arrived, he could ignore everyone else. However, he would not allow Yun Luofeng to suffer even the slightest bit of humiliation. Even if he had to risk his life and reveal his power, he would still protect her. I believe you. I believe you. The young girl's melodious voice moved Yunzhao's heart. The cold light in his deep, dark eyes gradually dissipated as he stared deeply at the young girl next to him. The corners of his lips curled into a shallow angle. Even if one day the entire continent did not believe in him, it was enough as long as she trusted him. Just stand here and don't move. Yin Luofeng gently hugged Yin Xiao, then turned and slowly walked towards Ling Yao. His slightly raised eyebrows raised insolently. Who did you just call trash? Ling Yao was so scared that she took a few steps back. What do you want now? I'll ask you again. Who did you just call trash? Yin Luofeng lifted his chin slightly and looked down at Ling Yao. Ling Yao was clearly afraid of being beaten by Yin Luofeng. She looked pleadingly at Xiao Yuqing, who was beside her. She was filled with regret. If she had met this woman earlier, she would have brought the guards of the Ling clan. At this moment, the other customers in the hall also stopped what they were doing and glanced curiously at Yin Luofeng and the others as they discussed in low voices. This girl is the woman of the Xiao clan's trash? I didn't expect that the Xiao clan's trash would have such good luck to actually be able to obtain such a beautiful young lady. Don't underestimate the Xiao clan's trash. Even though he doesn't have any power, his looks are of the highest quality. If you could look like him, there would also be women who would throw themselves at you. Sigh, the heavens are really fair. They gave him a perfect appearance, but took away all of his innate talent. However, this is all the fault of the trash's mother. I heard that the Xiao clan's trash's mother threatened Lin Yu to leave him in order to obtain Xiao Chun. Hence, the retribution for her wrongdoings was reaped on her son's head. Chapter 380. Even though those people had purposely lowered their voices, how sharp was Yin Luofeng's hearing? Every single word of their conversation fell in her ears. She bent down and picked up a chopstick from the ground. Then, she turned behind her, and with a swoosh, the chopstick brushed past the neck of the youth who had framed Yun Zhao's mother and swiftly pierced into the wall behind him. The originally sturdy wall burst like a bubble, leaving only a black hole where the chopstick had pierced deeply into the wall. The youth was dumbfounded. He wiped his wet neck and looked at his hand. Bright red blood stained his neck, and he screamed in fright. Blood, blood! He almost fainted. Fortunately, the people next to him hurriedly supported him, and he was able to stabilize his body. However, anyone could imagine the terror in this youth's heart. Just a little bit more. If the chopstick had been just a little more to the side, his neck might have been pierced by the chopstick, and he would have died. This is a warning. Yin Luofeng's black eyes carried a disdainful aura. If I hear anyone insulting his mother again, I will make sure your blood splatters on the spot. The young girl's voice was insolent, and her brows were filled with cold arrogance. Xiao Yuqing frowned slightly. Her clear and cold gaze swept towards the grim man dressed in black. Suddenly, a feeling of jealousy arose in her heart. This man was clearly a good-for-nothing, but there was a woman who was willing to get angry for him. She did not hesitate to stain Four Corner City with blood, and no one would be willing to go to such an extent for him. Even his father. If it were not for his extraordinary talent, perhaps his position in the Xiao family would be no different from Yun Zhao's. Why would such a powerful family jeopardize their own interests for him? The entire restaurant's main hall instantly regained its silence. Everyone did not even dare to breathe loudly as they looked timidly at the beautiful and demonic young girl in white. Now it's your turn. Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a smile as he turned to look at Ling Yao, who was standing in front of him. All these years, how have you slandered Yin Xiao? No. Perhaps Yin Luofeng's actions had shocked Ling Yao again. The fear in her eyes deepened, and she grabbed Xiao Yuqing's arm tightly with both hands. Brother Yuqing, save me. Xiao Yuqing's frown deepened. He raised his hand and slowly pushed Ling Yao's hand away. He said coldly and emotionlessly, I told you not to cause trouble. Now that you have caused trouble, you have to solve it yourself. The man's heartless voice made Ling Yao's heart turn incomparably cold. It was as if a cold air had entered her heart from the soles of her feet. Bang! Yin Luofeng sent Ling Yao's body flying with a kick. Then, before Ling Yao landed on the ground, She quickly flashed in front of Ling Yao and used the back of her foot to fiercely kick Ling Yao's waist. Like a kick, she sent Ling Yao flying in the air. When she thought of the humiliation Yun Xiao had suffered all these years, Yin Luofeng's heart was filled with a wave of anger. Now, she was venting this anger on Ling Yao, who asked Ling Yao to bump into her head for the second time. After the last kick, Ling Yao's body landed heavily on the ground. Yun Luofeng raised her foot and stepped on it. She said condescendingly, "Ling Yao, have you forgotten the pill I fed you?" Chapter 381. At this moment, Ling Yao's clothes were in tatters, and her entire body was in so much pain that she had curled up into a ball. She could feel that her internal organs had been severely injured and her ribs had all been broken. This woman is so cruel. Ling Yao gritted her teeth, and the hatred in her heart intensified. If she had the chance, she would never let this woman off. Of course, she had to find out what the black pill that this woman had fed her was. Do you want to know what that pill is? Yun Luofeng curled the corners of his lips and lowered his eyes to look at Ling Yao's pale face. I call your pill the body-tearing and bone-shattering pill. However, this body-tearing and bone-shattering pill won't really shatter your body. It will only let you experience the kind of pain. I only need a thought to make you taste that kind of pain. I didn't think that after swallowing the body-tearing and bone-shattering pill, you would still dare to come and look for me. Ling Yao's body trembled, and she turned her head away stubbornly. She would never believe in the body-tearing and bone-shattering pill. Besides, she had never heard of such a thing. Most importantly, she could make me experience the feeling of my body tearing and bone-shattering with just a thought. How could such a miraculous thing happen? This was also why Ling Yao had dared to cause trouble for Yun Luofeng. This was because during the time that she had left Long Yuan country, she had not felt any discomfort in her body. She had also found a doctor to examine her body, but they had not found anything. Hence, she thought that Yun Luofeng was just exaggerating. In reality, it was just an ordinary pill. You don't believe me? The smile on Yun Luofeng's lips deepened. If you don't believe me, I can let you try it. Hearing the young girl's words, Ling Yao's eyes flashed with disdain. However, before she could continue to ridicule Yun Luofeng, she felt an intense pain in her body. That pain was like a stone grinding fiercely against her bones. The intense pain caused Ling Yao to scream shrilly. She was in so much pain that her entire body broke out in cold sweat. She trembled uncontrollably, and her beautiful eyes revealed a deep sense of fear. The others didn't know what had happened. Just now, when Yun Luofeng had kicked Ling Yao's body, she hadn't screamed so miserably. Now that Yun Luofeng hadn't even touched her, she was screaming instead. Kill me, kill me. Arg. This kind of feeling made Ling Yao want to die. Even death was better than suffering such torture. Do you believe me now? Yun Luofeng chuckled. I already said that this pill is the body-tearing, bone-shattering pill. You didn't believe me, so I naturally had to let you try it. Also, don't let me hear you say the word trash again. Otherwise, I'll make your life a living hell. The intense pain slowly disappeared from Ling Yao's body, but her body was still trembling. Now, whenever she thought of the pain she had just endured, fear surfaced in her eyes once again. Yun Luofeng withdrew her foot from Ling Yao and slowly walked to Yun Zhao's side. She stretched lazily and said with a smile, Yun Xiao, I'm tired. Let's go back and rest. Other than looking at Ling Yao coldly when she first framed him, he didn't even glance at her for the rest of the time, treating her as if she was air. Indeed, in this world, aside from Yun Luofeng, no other woman was worthy of him wasting his precious time to look at her. Chapter 382. Lin Ruobai, who had turned into an infatuated girl because of Yun Luofeng's domineering manner, finally regained her senses with great difficulty. Only then did she realize that she had been abandoned. She blinked dumbly and had no choice but to accept this reality. For the sake of a man, Master had forgotten about a living person like me. Furthermore, ever since Master's man had appeared, Master only had him in her eyes. She had even lost her disciple without realizing it. Master, wait for me. Don't abandon me. Lin Ruabai looked at the delicacies that Yun Luofeng had ruined on the ground. She hardened her heart and quickly threw them in the direction of the restaurant. Because she was too fast, she tripped over the door sill and fell face first onto the ground. Wah! Lin Ruabai burst into tears and complained pitifully. Master, don't you realize that there's someone missing by your side? How could you forget about such a living person like me? Master really values a lover over a disciple. Lin Ruabai crawled up from the ground and dusted off the dirt on her pants. Her little mouth bit the corner of her clothes tightly, and her resentful gaze was like an abandoned puppy. Yin Luofeng walked on the sidewalk. The smile on her lips was filled with laziness as her black eyes turned towards the perfect side profile of the man beside her. Yin Xiao, Qin Yuan has told me everything about you. Yin Xiao was slightly taken aback and frowned. He made a mistake. He's worried about you. Yin Luofeng raised her brows. Furthermore, I hope that no matter what happens, you will tell me. I will face it together with you. When we return, don't punish him. He's a very loyal subordinate. All right. Yin Xiao nodded. If you plead for him, I'll let him go. Hearing Yin Xiao's reply, Yin Luofeng relaxed. Then, she seemed to remember something and frowned. Did I forget something? Yin Xiao thought for a moment. I don't think so. Oh. Yin Luofeng's frown relaxed, and she said lazily, Then let's go rest. I'm tired. Poor Xiao Bai. She didn't even know that she had been abandoned by her master who valued a lover over a disciple. She could only pitifully ask the passers-by for directions to the Xiao family home. At this moment, her heart felt like it was being trampled by thousands of horses. Auntie, you have to avenge me. In the backyard of the Xiao family, Ling Yao threw herself into Lin Yu's arms. She couldn't help but burst into tears. What happened? A trace of disgust flashed across Lin Yu's eyes. However, when she looked at Ling Yao, she put away the disgust in her eyes and said gently, Tell me, who bullied you? Ling Yao wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. Her pale little face was filled with resentment. I met a woman on the road just now. Not only did that woman seduce Big Brother Yuqing, she even hit me and fed me poison. She wanted me to submit to her so that I would give Big Brother Yuqing to her. What? Lin Yu's fair hand landed heavily on the table. Her beautiful eyes, which resembled that of a venomous snake, were filled with a gloomy expression. Which woman is so audacious as to dream about my Yuqing? Yuqing's status is so noble. How could some boorish woman have delusions about him? In her heart, Xiao Yuqing was the most outstanding and also the pride of her life. She would never allow such a vulgar woman to dream of obtaining Xiao Yuqing. Chapter 383. Ling Yao lowered her eyelids and clenched her fists tightly. She has returned to the Xiao family with that good-for-nothing and is now living in that good-for-nothing's courtyard. I suspect that she is only with that good-for-nothing as a temporary measure to enter the Xiao family first so that she can get closer to Brother Yuqing. Hearing Ling Yao's words, Lin Yu's expression darkened. Suddenly, she stood up and a cold light flashed across her eyes. Let's go, we'll go find her now. This woman was actually so audacious to think of someone she shouldn't have, and she absolutely could not tolerate such a thing happening. In the silent east courtyard, only the chirping of a small bird could be heard. Yin Luofeng leaned lazily against the door sill and crossed her arms over her chest. She glanced at the simple yet elegant room in front of her. Gradually, her gaze turned towards the grim man next to her. Yin Xiao, I want to know, what does the Xiao family use to control you? Yin Xiao was silent for a moment, and her dark eyes were deep. Every member of the Xiao family, upon birth, will hand over a portion of their soul power. This soul power is sealed in a jade tablet. If the jade tablet is damaged, I will become an idiot at best and die at worst. An injury to the soul is not easy to recover, especially for him. His portion of soul power is still in the Xiao family's control. If it was only the portion of soul power that was in his possession, it would not be so dangerous. Most importantly, The jade tablet that seals the soul power is made of a special item. Once you possess this jade tablet, it is equivalent to possessing the person's life. If you want him to die, he definitely won't be able to live past midnight. This is why Xianxia has not made a move against the Xiao family all these years. Do you know where the jade tablet is? Yin Luofeng frowned and asked. Xiao pursed his thin lips and looked at the frowning young girl next to him. I'm not sure yet. I'm still investigating where the jade tablet is hidden. Once I get the jade tablet, I won't let a single member of the Xiao family off, especially the woman who had thrown him into the forest of no return. Yin Luofeng gently held Yun Xiao's hand and stared at him seriously. I will help you. In this half a year, Yun Xiao had helped her too much. This time, it was her turn to help him. The girl's words caused the man's cold gaze to gradually change. Just as he was about to speak, the sound of footsteps came from outside the courtyard. After hearing these footsteps, his brows furrowed again, and his expression returned to its usual coldness. Not too long after, Lin Yu's figure appeared in the courtyard. Her beautiful face was enveloped in a layer of frost as her furious gaze pierced through Yun Xiao and landed on Yun Luofeng. Are you the woman who wants to have my son? Lin Yu sneered, slightly raised her chin, and said arrogantly, Little girl, I see that you are so young. How could you do such a shameless thing? I know that you only have your eyes on our Xiao family's power and wealth. How about this? I'll give you 1,000,000 taels, and you can leave the Xiao family immediately. Yin Luofeng raised her eyebrows evilly. She turned to look at the man standing beside her and curled her lips. When did you get a mother? The man's cold gaze swept across Lin Yu's body. He then turned his head and stared deeply at Yin Luofeng with his dark eyes. I don't know her. The conversation between the two of them nearly drove Lin Yu mad with anger. Her venomous eyes stared fixedly at Yin Luofeng as she said coldly, Little girl, don't pretend to understand when you don't. You know that I'm talking about Xiao Yuqing. Chapter 384. Yin Luofeng glanced at Lin Yu. I don't know where you get your confidence from to think that I've taken a fancy to Xiao Yuqing. He. Lin Yu suppressed the anger in her heart, and a sarcastic smile appeared on her beautiful face. I've seen many young ladies like you. I don't believe that you would take a fancy to a good-for-nothing. Hence, your motive for coming to the Xiao family is extremely obvious. I'll give you one chance. Take 1,000,000 taels and scram. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes, and a dangerous light flashed in his evil eyes. Don't you think that 1,000,000 taels is too little? How about I spend 10,000,000 taels to buy your life? How about I spend 10,000,000 taels to buy your life? The young lady's voice was arrogant and domineering. It was filled with arrogance and disdain. Lin Yu's expression changed drastically. Her gloomy eyes flashed with anger, and she scoffed coldly. I've seen many young ladies trying to climb into my son's bed, but you're the most shameless one. I advise you to stop daydreaming. My son will never take a fancy to an arrogant woman like you. Boom! Just as she finished speaking, a powerful force suddenly shot towards her from the front and hit her chest fiercely. Her body flew out abruptly. Thump! She fell heavily into the corner, and there was a vicious glint in her narrowed eyes. Who hurt me just now? Yin Xiao? Or this young lady? No, impossible. Yin Xiao is only a good-for-nothing, and this young lady is so young. She must not be very powerful. What Lin Yu did not notice was that when her body flew out, the grim man who had been silent slowly retracted his palm as if nothing had happened. Thump! Thump, thump, thump. Before Lin Yu could catch her breath, a stream of qi rampaged inside her body as if it was trying to break out of her body. She screamed in pain. Yin Luofeng glanced at the man standing next to him as he watched Lin Yu's miserable state. In the end, he had not been able to control himself and had attacked her. However, she could understand the man's feelings. No matter how others humiliated him, he could ignore it. However, he could not ignore the humiliation that those people had inflicted on him. If Lin Yu had not insulted her, perhaps Yin Xiao would not have made a move at this time. I was the one who attacked just now. Yin Luofeng pressed Yun Zhao's hand tightly. His arrogant eyes glanced at Lin Yu. What can you do to me? She could not let others know of Xianxia's power, otherwise, it would definitely bring her trouble. That was why she decided to take the blame for everything. Moreover, even if Xianxia had not made a move earlier, she would have made a move to injure her. Guards! Lin Yu stood up with a pale face and a gloomy look on her face. Hua hua hua! Countless guards rushed in from outside and instantly surrounded the entire courtyard. They pointed their weapons at Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiaoling, surrounding them in the middle. Lin Yu's eyes darkened, and she said in a cold voice, "Catch this woman." Yun Xiao furrowed his brows and pulled Yun Luofeng behind him. His grim eyes stared at the gloomy Lin Yu. His black robes fluttered in the gentle breeze, faintly revealing a murderous intent. Oh! When Lin Yu saw how protective Yun Xiao was of Yun Luofeng, she spoke in a peculiar tone. "I never thought that a good-for-nothing like you would protect a woman. TSK, TSK. I have a whole new level of respect for you. Unfortunately, do you think that someone like you can protect her?" Chapter 385. Her face was clearly filled with disdain, as if she had no regard for Yun Xiao, who was standing in front of Yun Luofeng. Yun Xiao's eyes grew even colder. The aura from his body was like a raging river, dangerous and wild. "Yun Xiao, have you forgotten what I've said to you?" Yun Luofeng gently patted Yun Xiao's shoulder. "I've said this before. Leave this matter to me." Yun Xiao's body stiffened, and he slowly retracted the aura from his body. He then turned around and looked at the peerless young woman who was standing in front of him. He thought for a moment before he said, "You can hit her however you like. He would always be there to back her up in everything. When have I, Yun Luofeng, ever been lenient?" Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes and smiled evilly as he walked towards Lin Yu. Lin Yu's expression changed, and she shouted, "Attack him immediately." "Yes, madam." Upon hearing Lin Yu's order, the guards quickly stepped forward and charged towards Yun Luofeng. Her snow-white robes fluttered in the gentle breeze. The young woman's peerless face lit up with a smile as her pitch-black eyes stared emotionlessly at the guards who were charging towards her. The wind around her grew stronger as her aura expanded. Boom! The aura around the young girl exploded like a bomb, fiercely slamming into the guards. Before they could even reach Yun Luofeng, they were affected by the explosive force. Their bodies were sent flying, and the weapons in their hands fell to the ground. Yun Luofeng's gaze slowly shifted to Lin Yu's body. Her evil smile revealed an awe-inspiring killing intent, causing people's hearts to tremble involuntarily. "Now, it's your turn. An Earth Spirit?" Lin Yu's expression changed, and a mid-level Earth Spirit at that. At this moment, she could clearly sense Yun Luofeng's undisguised aura. Her beautiful face sank. Even though her talents were not bad, she was only a low-level Earth Spirit. This young woman's aura was clearly higher than hers, so she must be a mid-level Earth Spirit. The difference of one level was like the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Yu gritted her teeth. "You're quite bold to actually dare to cause trouble in the Xiao family home. Do you think that you can do whatever you want just because you're a mid-level Earth Spirit? My father is a celestial spirit stage powerhouse. You won't be able to withstand a single blow from him. No matter how strong the Xiao clan's patriarch is, he hasn't arrived here yet. I can kill you before he arrives." The Xiao family had many courtyards, and they were divided into the north, south, east, and west directions. Therefore, Shaolin still needed a period of time after he received the news. Lin Yu took a few steps back in fear when she saw the sinister smile on the young girl's face. She leaned her back against the wall, and her face became paler. Just as she was thinking about how to escape, a delicate voice came from outside the door, causing Yun Luofeng's eyes to narrow. "Big brother Yu Qing, I've already told you that this woman is bullying Auntie, but you just wouldn't listen. If we had come a little later, Auntie would definitely have died in her hands." This familiar voice made Yun Luofeng's lips curl into a smile. Ling Yao really wasn't afraid of death. He clearly knew the taste of the body-tearing, bone-shattering pill. Yet he still came knocking on his door. It seemed that Xiao Yuqing held a very important place in her heart. Outside the courtyard, a man in cyan clothes rushed in and appeared in front of Lin Yu. Then, He gently supported her tottering body. Chapter 386. Ling Yao, who had followed them into the courtyard, did not even have the courage to look at Yun Luofeng. She quickly walked to Lin Yu's side and gritted her teeth. Her pretty face was still pale. The taste of the body-tearing, bone-shattering pill may be unbearable, but she would rather endure this torture so that Big Brother Yu Qing would give up on Yun Luofeng. Knowing Big Brother Yu Qing's character, he would never allow anyone to hurt Aunt. Ling Yao's lips curled into a complacent smile, and the space between her brows shone brightly. Perhaps she has already seen Xiao Yu Qing's hatred towards Yun Luofeng, and the complacency in her heart grew. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned. After Xiao Yu Qing supported Lin Yu's body, his clear and cold eyes turned towards Yun Luofeng. I've said this before, my mother is not the kind of person you've described her to be. She was not a concubine. She and my father have always loved each other. So, I will prove this to you. However, during this time, I don't want you to hurt my mother. Hurt her? When did you see me hurt her? Yun Luofeng smiled coldly as he asked. Xiao Yu Qing did not reply. He looked at the unharmed Yun Luofeng, and then at Ling Yao, who had blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. His meaning was very clear. Furthermore, Yun Luofeng paused. So what if I hurt her? Back then, she had thrown Yun Xiao into the forest of no return, and he had nearly lost his life. Just this incident alone is enough for him to die a few hundred times over. My mother has never done such a thing. Xiao Yu Qing furrowed his brows and swept his cold gaze towards Yun Xiao. I hope that you won't let your lust get to your head. Some things need to be rational. Don't jump to conclusions before you've investigated the truth. I will investigate this matter thoroughly and clear my mother's name. The truth? Yun Luofeng curled the corners of his lips and sneered. What I say is the truth. Arrogant and domineering. What she says is the truth. What other kind of truth do you want? Xiao Yu Qing's expression grew even colder, and his brows were tightly furrowed. Forget it. I'll look for you after I've investigated the matter. I don't want you to be used by others. Now, I'm going to take my mother away. I can pretend that nothing has happened today. After saying this, Xiao Yu Qing supported Lin Yu and turned around to leave. However, an evil and awe-inspiring voice rang out behind him, causing him to stop in his tracks. You can go, but she must stay. Yun Luofeng's gaze was filled with disdain. It was as if he was standing at the pinnacle, overlooking all life on the continent. Her hatred for Lin Yu had long been engraved in her heart. Now that he had finally encountered such an opportunity, how could he let her go so easily? I know that your background is not ordinary. Xiao Yu Qing turned to look at Yun Luofeng. But this is the Xiao family. You only have the power of an earth spirit. If you anger my grandfather, I cannot help you. Brother Yu Qing. Ling Yao curled her lips. What's so special about this woman? She's just the daughter of an ordinary noble from Long Yuan country. Our Xiao family does not need to fear such a person. Xiao Yu Qing remained silent, as if she hadn't heard Ling Yao's words. Her cold eyes were fixed on Yun Luofeng. She stays, or both of you stay. Yun Luofeng raised his brows and said. Xiao Yu Qing wanted to continue persuading Yun Luofeng, but at this moment, an oppressive force came from nowhere and pressed down on his body like a heavy stone, rendering him unable to move. Chapter 387. Brother Yu Qing, what's wrong? Ling Yao noticed Xiao Yu Qing's strange behavior, and her expression changed as she asked anxiously. Xiao Yu Qing gently pursed his thin lips as his eyes darkened. He hurriedly used his consciousness to search, but he could not find out where this coercion had come from. Of course, based on Xiao Yu Qing's level of power, he would not be able to discover that this coercion had come from Yun Xiao. Since Yun Luofeng had decided to handle this matter personally, he would not step forward. However, this does not mean that he would allow Yun Luofeng to fight alone. If he could not help her openly, what harm would there be in helping her in secret? He was willing to be the man behind her back. You had a good time cursing me, didn't you? Yun Luofeng's body flashed and appeared in front of Lin Yu. Her face lit up with an evil smile as her pitch-black eyes stared at Lin Yu with a smile. Did you use to humiliate Yun Xiao and his mother like this? Qinger, Lin Yu's expression changed, and she quickly tried to hide behind Xiao Yuqing. Unfortunately, Xiao Yuqing could not move at all. His entire body felt as if it was being crushed under a great mountain, as if there was a weight of 1,000 kilograms on his back. "Mother, hurry and leave. Don't worry about me. Hurry and leave." Xiao Yuqing roared at the top of his lungs. His forehead was drenched in cold sweat, and his handsome face was glowing with a pale light. After hearing Xiao Yuqing's words, Lin Yu did not even think twice before she turned around and ran out of the courtyard. She did not even care about her own son and only thought about running for her life. Xiao Yuqing's heart turned cold at the sight of this. He could not understand it himself. He had clearly asked his mother to run for her life, so why would his heart turn so cold when he saw her fleeing figure? Thump! Just as Xiao Yuqing's heart sank to rock bottom, a white figure quickly shot out of the courtyard. Lin Yu then kicked back and rolled in front of Xiao Yuqing with a thud. "Did you see that?" Yin Luofeng looked at Xiao Yuqing. "This is your mother. She only cared about running for her life and did not care about yours. Do you think that someone like her could be kind?" Xiao Yuqing pursed his thin lips and remained silent. His mother was indeed very selfish at times, but he still could not believe that she would be so selfish as to harm the flesh and blood of the Xiao family. "Qing Lin Yu climbed up and glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng. "Don't listen to this woman's nonsense. I'm going to find her grandfather. When your grandfather comes, she will definitely die without a burial place." Hearing Lin Yu's words, Xiao Yuqing's heart, which was originally as cold as ice, gradually calmed down. She said in a gentle voice, "Mother, I believe you." As long as she said it, he would believe it. Yin Luofeng sneered and ignored the immobile Xiao Yuqing. Instead, he gradually approached Lin Yu. "How did you treat them back then?" Lin Yu was taken aback. She stepped back and asked, "What do you mean?" "I've never done anything heinous to them. Don't slander me in front of my son." In any case, there was no one to testify for what had happened back then. So what if she refused to admit it? Yin Luofeng kicked Lin Yu's stomach, causing her to fall to the ground. He stepped on her from a high position. "You only need to answer my questions. Don't give me any excuses." At that moment, Ling Yao was so frightened that she hid in a corner. She, who had already been tortured several times, did not dare to step forward and say a word. Otherwise, what awaited her would be severe torture. Chapter 388. Stop! Suddenly, an enraged roar rang out from behind and charged towards Yin Luofeng with a powerful aura. Just as the aura was about to reach Yin Luofeng, an even more powerful aura collided with it and dispersed the aura in the air. Yin Xiao retracted his aura, and his cold eyes gradually turned towards the crowd rushing over from outside the courtyard. At the same time, Yin Luofeng put his foot down from Lin Yu's chest. His gaze slowly swept over the group of people who were quickly approaching. His pitch-black eyes narrowed slightly, and an evil light surged out from them. "You are..." Xiao Qin's expression changed greatly. He quickly walked to Lin Yu's side and asked anxiously, "Are you all right?" Cough, cough. Lin Yu coughed and shook her head weakly. "I'm fine." "How dare you?" After seeing that his beloved woman was fine, Xiao Qian turned his gaze towards Yin Luofeng and said angrily, "How dare you injure someone in my Xiao family? You're lawless." Xiao, is this the woman you brought back?" When he said the last sentence, his gaze turned towards Yun Xiao. Yun Xiao frowned and said coldly, "My name is Yun Xiao." Clearly, he was very dissatisfied with the way Xiao Qian had addressed him. He was no longer a member of the Xiao family. He was only Yun Xiao of the Yun family. Unfilial son. Xiao Qin's expression changed, and he shouted angrily, "You ungrateful ingrate! Have you forgotten who raised you? Now you've actually changed your surname. You're simply throwing the Xiao family's face." From Xiao Qin's point of view, only the Xiao family could remove Yun Zhao's name from the ancestral hall. They could not allow him to change his surname without permission. Even if his name was still not in the Xiao family's ancestral hall, he had no right to become a member of another family. Yun Xiao was expressionless and his gaze was cold. "I was chased out of the family when I was 7. In other words, he had been chased out of the family when he was 7, so the Xiao family could not be considered to have raised him. You. Xiao Chan was so angry that he was almost speechless. Luckily, an unfilial son like you is no longer a member of the Xiao family. Otherwise, I would really be angered to death by you. If you were as outstanding as Yuqing, I wouldn't be so angry. Xiao Lin glanced at the infuriated Xiao Chun, then turned his gaze towards Yun Xiao. Xiao, you're in the wrong in this matter. Even if you're no longer a member of the Xiao family, you can't just simply give yourself a new surname. Furthermore, you still have the blood of the Xiao family in your veins. If you use the power of your bloodline to help Yuqing open the secret realm this time, I'll give you a way out and allow you to return to the family. By then, you'll still have to change back to your previous surname. To the Xiao family, letting their own bloodline follow someone else's surname was a very shameful thing. Even if this person who possessed the bloodline of the Xiao family was no longer qualified to bear the surname Xiao. Yun Luofeng stood quietly at the side, staring coldly at the people in front of him. And they were Yun Zhao's so-called relatives. Not only did he not allow him to use the surname Xiao, he also did not allow him to change his surname. It could only make him lose his surname. At that moment, Yun Luofeng's heart ached. She felt sorrow for Yun Xiao. He really couldn't imagine how much humiliation and disdain he had endured before he was 7 years old. And this humiliation had been inflicted upon him by his relatives. It was no wonder that it had resulted in his cold personality today. Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng grabbed Yun Zhao's hand tightly. After feeling the coldness of the man's palm, she said sincerely, "You still have me in the Yun family." Chapter 389. No matter what, she would never abandon him. The corners of Yun Zhao's lips gently rose into a shallow arc. His smile was very beautiful, and it could easily strike a person's heart. However, this peerlessly beautiful smile, he would only bloom on one person. I have you. That's enough. He could abandon the entire world. As long as she was by his side, that was enough. Little Xiao. Xiao Lin's expression darkened. If you insist on protecting this woman, you're no longer a member of the Xiao family. Yun Xiao held Yun Luofeng's hand tightly. The curve of his lips disappeared when he turned to face Xiao Lin. He regained his usual coldness and said expressionlessly, "The Xiao family needs the power of my bloodline." Hearing this, Xiao Lin frowned. "What are you trying to say?" "Let her beat you up," the man said coldly. Xiao Lin knew that Yun Xiao was protective of Yun Luofeng, but he did not expect it to be to this extent. Was he threatening him? Good. Very good. In this lifetime, he was the only one who had the courage to threaten him. "Little Xiao, do you know what you're saying?" Xiao Lin's eyes darkened as he asked coldly. "I know." The man's words were as concise as ever. To him, it was as if talking to these people was a waste of time. "You're threatening me because of a woman?" "That's right. You do have the ability to threaten me now." Who asked the Xiao family to have the pure power of the bloodline and only lack you? However, once the secret territory opens, you'll be useless. Are you sure you want to threaten me because of a woman? Xiao Lin's chest was filled with anger. He realized that he could not see through this grandson of his. Yun Zhao's gaze swept across the beautiful girl next to him. As long as she's happy. What he meant was that as long as Yun Luofeng was happy, he was willing to let her do anything. Xiao Lin chuckled. His voice was filled with anger. "Xiao Chun, you've given birth to a good son. So good that you're threatening his grandfather because of an outsider." Xiao Chun smiled coldly. "Father, you're mistaken. I only have one son, Yuqing. A good-for-nothing like him has no right to be my son. I can't give birth to such a good-for-nothing son." Xiao Lin fiercely shook his sleeves and said with a cold expression, "Xiao, remember the decision you made today. When you can no longer threaten me, I won't easily forgive your mistake this time. Let's go." After saying this, Xiao Lin turned around and walked out of the courtyard. "Father!" Xiao Chen panicked and quickly chased after him. "Father, if you leave just like that, what about you?" Xiao Lin paused and said, "Do you want Yuqing to be the clan leader, or do you want your wife? Think about it carefully." With that, he quickly left the place without looking back. Only the heavens knew how sullen Xiao Lin was feeling right now, but he was helpless. Who asked him to need this piece of trash now? Xiaoqian remained silent for a while. In the end, he made up his mind and hurriedly walked out of the courtyard. In order to make his son the patriarch, he was willing to give up Lin Yu. Lin Yu's heart turned cold as she stared at the direction where Xiaoqian had left. A bitter smile appeared on her seductive features. Husband and wife are birds in the same forest. When disaster strikes, they fly separately. This saying is indeed true. No matter how well Xiaoqian has treated me in the past, he doesn't care about me at a time like this. Chapter 390. Yin Luofeng raised his eyes slightly and looked down at the beautiful woman sitting on the ground. He could give up on Yun Zhao's mother before. Now, he can also give up on you. Lin Yu scoffed icily and closed her eyes. Her pale face slowly displayed a sense of despair. Don't worry, I won't let you die so quickly. Yin Luofeng took a few steps closer to Lin Yu. The smile on his lips contained a hint of evil. Because it's not time for you to die yet. This woman's life must be taken care of by Yun Xiao himself. Right now, she was just venting the anger in her heart. Four Corner City was led by the three great families. The three great families were the Xiao family, the Ling family, and the Wei family. Other than being extremely powerful in Four Corner City, the three great families also held great weight in the entire spirit realm. At this moment, in the Wei family, which was the leader of the three great families, old Master Wei hurriedly ran out of the main hall. He saw the cute girl standing in the courtyard with a single glance and quickly walked up to her. There was a group of guards lying around the girl. They were all wailing and rolling on the ground, clearly injured. Oh my little ancestor, why are you here? Old Man Wei walked to the cute girl's side and glared fiercely at the guards lying on the ground. You bastards, do you think you can offend this little ancestor? The guards were extremely sad. They never thought that this inconspicuous little girl would be acquainted with the patriarch. Also, it seemed that the patriarch was a little afraid of her. Little ancestor, come in and sit. Does your father know that you're here? Old Man Wei walked forward with a smile, his words filled with flattery. Lin Ruobai grabbed Old Man Wei's beard and twirled it around her finger. Old Man Wei, your Four Corner City is too big. I've asked for directions for a long time, but I still can't find the place I want to go. Hurry up and take me to Master. Your master? Old Master Wei blinked blankly. This little ancestor has a master? Who is so powerful that this little ancestor would take him as her master? That's right, my master valued his lover over his disciple, and threw me away. Until now, he still hasn't remembered that he's missing me. I can only go find her myself, but I don't know the way. Old Fartway, quickly send someone to send me there. Lin Ruobai blinked her big bright eyes and said with a smile. This? Old Master Wei asked timidly. Who is your master? Where is he? This little ancestor was a little devil, and her master was most likely a great devil. Seems like I won't have a good life. My master ran away with the Xiao family. Lin Ruobai pursed his lips, his eyes filled with grievance. Hurry up and send me over. Otherwise, I'll tell my father that you bullied me. Don't, my little ancestor. I'll take you to the Xiao clan right now. A layer of cold sweat appeared on Old Man Wei's forehead. If this little ancestor were to go home and look down on him, then his position as the head of the Wei clan would be over. However, what he didn't expect was that the Xiao family's luck was actually so good that they managed to abduct this little ancestor's master. And the only person in the Xiao family who could attract a woman's attention was Xiao Yuqing. Could it be that the person who had abducted this little ancestor's master was Xiao Yuqing? The more Old Man Wei thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. It seemed like he had to change his attitude towards the Xiao clan in the future. Being able to form a relationship with this little ancestor was equivalent to stepping onto a big boat with a limitless future. Chapter 391. At the Xiao family home, in the east courtyard, Yin Luofeng stared condescendingly at Lin Yu, who had been beaten beyond recognition by her. A cold light flashed at her eyes. Back then, I will repay you bit by bit for everything you've done for Yin Xiao. Lin Yu's body trembled as she bit her lip. Her malicious eyes were like daggers dipped in poison as she glared fixedly at Yin Luofeng. Yin Xiao, let's go. Yin Luofeng did not spare her another glance as she slowly turned away and walked towards Yin Xiao. Her peerless features were lit up with a moving smile, and her black eyes were as bright as the stars in the night sky. One could not help but be drawn into her gaze. The man nodded silently. His expressionless face was cold and grim. Just as Yin Luofeng reached the door, she suddenly remembered something and paused in her steps. Yin Xiao, I finally remembered what I've forgotten. What is it? Yin Xiao's eyes fell upon the young girl as she asked. Xiao Bai. Yin Luofeng curled the corners of her lips. I've left that fellow Xiao Bai. She had been feeling awkward all over just now, as if she had forgotten something. Only now did she remember that little girl, Lin Ruobai. One could imagine how bitter she must have felt after being forgotten. In the great hall, Xiao Lin hurriedly went out to welcome the servant upon hearing his report. He immediately saw an old man and a young girl standing in the courtyard. The old man was majestic, and his snow-white beard fluttered in the wind. Dressed in navy blue robes, he looked like a treasure blade that had yet to age. Next to him was an adorable young girl in white robes. This young girl had been looking around randomly with her large eyes, as if she was searching for something. Master Wei, why have you come? Xiao Lin burst into laughter and stepped forward to welcome him. His eyes stared curiously at the young girl in white who was standing next to the old man. After all, he had never seen this little girl in the Wei family home. Master Xiao, Master Wei smiled. This little girl is a relative of mine. She's here to look for her master. Lin Ruobai's identity was very special. Based on Xiao Lin's abilities, he didn't have the right to know her true identity. Thus, he referred to her as a relative. Oh, a look of astonishment flashed across Xiao Lin's eyes. I wonder who this young lady's master is. Old Master Wei didn't wait for Lin Ruobai's reply. He smiled and said, You should ask Yuqing about this. Her master ran away with Xiao Yuqing of the Xiao family. So I'm guessing that only Xiao Yuqing knows where her master is? Yuqing? Is her master Ling Yao? There was some surprise in Xiao Lin's eyes. There was only Ling Yao by Yuqing's side. Who would have thought that the Ling family would have a relationship with the Wei family? In this way, the three major factions of Four Corner City could be considered to have completely merged together. Ling Yao, Lin Ruobai, curled his lips and said disdainfully, How could that bitch be my master? My father's foresight isn't so bad that he would find such a slut to be my master. Even though Lin Ruobai had been cut off from the world for a very long time, she had grown up in that environment. How could she not understand the intrigue? Therefore, she had deliberately revealed this information. Her motive was to let old Master Wei know that her father had chosen her master for her, that her status was so noble. Chapter 392. Old Master Wei's expression became much more serious. Lin Ruobai becoming a disciple herself and Lin Jingfeng's decision were two completely different things. If Lin Jingfeng had chosen this master for her, then that person's status in spirit realm would be unparalleled. Old Master Wei. Xiao Lin frowned, his expression clearly displeased. Ling Yao is not just the daughter of the Ling family. She is the future mistress of the Xiao family. Isn't this girl lacking in upbringing by calling her that? Lacking in upbringing? Lin Ruobai's expression darkened. She had lived for so many years, and no one had ever dared to say that she lacked in upbringing. Oomph. She snorted, and a trace of ridicule flashed across her adorable doll-like face. Not only am I calling her a slut, I'm also going to say that Xiao Yuqing from your Xiao family insists on pestering my master. My master already has a man, so there's no way he'll like Xiao Yuqing. You better take care of your clan members first before educating me. Xiao Lin's expression darkened completely. At the start, when Lin Ruobai had insulted Ling Yao, he had endured because Ling Yao was not a member of the Xiao family. The second reason was that old Master Wei was the leader of the three families, and he had to give him face. He hadn't thought that this girl would go so far as to insult Yuqing. She even said that Yuqing was pestering her master. What a joke. If Yuqing liked her master, would her master reject him? She would probably have leapt at him already. This! Old Master Wei looked in shock at Lin Ruobai. If it wasn't Xiao Yuqing who took away your master, Then who? In the Xiao family, the most outstanding disciple was Xianxia. Therefore, Old Master Wei could not imagine who else other than Xianxia could take away this little ancestor's master. Lin Ruobai twisted her lips. Doesn't Old Master Xiao have a grandson? He's the one who took away my master. Xiao Lin had just recovered from his anger when he heard Lin Ruobai's words. He could not stop himself from mocking. So the woman that trash brought back is your master? Like master, like disciple. You're all the same, lacking in upbringing. At this moment, Old Man Wei was still in a state of shock. Perhaps he had never imagined that Lin Ruobai's master would be related to that good-for-nothing from the Xiao family. If he had not insisted on personally sending this little ancestor to the Xiao clan today, he might have missed this piece of news. At that time, he would definitely have made an irreparable mistake. Fortunately, he came and didn't step on the wrong boat. Old Man Wei took a deep breath. He had originally wanted Xiao Lin to bring them to see Yin Luofeng, but Xiao Lin's mocking voice suddenly sounded in his ears. His old face instantly darkened. Xiao family head, I will leave this little girl in your Xiao family for now. However, let me warn you, no matter what she wants to do, it is best to comply with her. Otherwise, if your Xiao family encounters any calamity, I will not be able to help you. Xiao Lin was really living too much. He actually dared to say such words in front of the little ancestor. If these words were to reach the ears of that person, the Xiao clan would immediately be removed from the three great clans. Sadly, this little ancestor's identity was far too special, and he couldn't say it out loud. Or else Xiao Lin wouldn't dare to speak to her in such a manner. However, towards Old Man Wei's kind reminder, Xiao Lin only scoffed coldly, not taking it to heart. Old Man Wei, Lin Ruobai blinked his eyes slightly and said with a grin, Can you help me capture him?